Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the qualifying watch-along for the 2020 Portuguese Grand Prix. Yes, first time since 1996. How many times have I said that so far in the last few days? First time since 1996, F1 is back in Portugal, and for the first time ever at the fantastic, the wonderful, the beautiful Portimao. How good do those cars look on that track? Wow, I cannot wait for this afternoon. I know I'm slightly biased as a massive F1 fan, as I'm sure all of you are too, but I cannot wait for this afternoon. It's going to be so much fun. Good afternoon to everybody in the chat. Good to have you with me for the next... at least 2 hours, possibly more. Who knows? We'll see. Hey to Forza Ferrari, to Rayan, to Mega Monkey, to Safe Plum, to Johan, to J Paul. Hopefully your man can have a good day today. Kurt as well, to Sam. Hello to... I've seen Granny Annie in there. I think I've seen Jack as well. Hey to Ian in chat too. So good to see you all. Just a nice afternoon again, as we did last time. Nice and relaxed, lots of chat. Plenty to talk about as well regarding Formula One. Mainly silly season, but there's still, other things to talk about too, which we'll try and get into. We'll do some predictions as well before the session, but let's kick it off with the FP3 result, because that took place this morning. And for the third session in a row this weekend, Valtteri Bottas was fastest. Is it his weekend? Fingers crossed. Feels like we say that every single time we come into these streams, doesn't it? Bottas has been great in practice. Boom, it all goes wrong in the racing qualifying, but we'll see. Hopefully pole for him today. Lewis Hamilton second place, just 2/100ths of a second behind. Max Verstappen third on the medium tyre, so obviously a step harder than the two Mercedes, just 1.5 tenths off the pace. Now let's try and not get too excited, but that does look very positive for hopefully a competitive session and race tomorrow. Pierre Gasly up there in fourth place, just nearly 3 tenths off the fastest time set by Mercedes, but still, what a lap from him. Alexander Albon, fifth place, plenty to talk about with him a little bit later as well. Half a second or 4.5 tenths off Bottas, but again on the medium tyres, so some of that will easily come down, assuming Mercedes haven't been holding back too much with their drivers. Leclerc in sixth, Carlos Sainz in seventh, and Sergio Perez in eighth place. Perez also on the mediums. Norris is ninth, and Ocon 10th. He's also on the mediums as well. But just a second covering the top 10 is very nice to see. It feels like it's been a while since we've seen that too often in Formula One anyway, but half a second between first and seventh, and a second covering the top 10. In fact, the top 12 really, with Sebastian Vettel 11th and Daniel Kvyat in 12th. Kimi Raikkonen, he was 13th this morning. 14th for Ricciardo on the medium tyre. Didn't get a soft run. He had some issues. Only 13 laps this morning. George Russell, bless him, 15th place, 1.3 seconds off the pace on the soft tyre. That's still very good for Williams. I know it's only practice, but we'll enjoy it. 16th for Stroll, 17th for Giovinazzi, 18th for Magnussen, 19th for Latifi, and Romain Grosjean bringing up the field in 20th place. And just as I look at that table, I can confirm that the Portuguese Grand Prix is not being held at Sochi. It is in fact at Portimao. That is a typo on my part, or a mistake on my part, so apologies for that. Just ignore it. You never saw it. It's all fine. Most of you probably didn't until I drew your attention to it, but never mind. It's all okay. So, like I said, loads to talk about silly season-wise. So we'll do that first because we've got a good hour and a half to talk about qualifying when it gets underway in about 25 minutes' time. But something worth noting from this morning before we get into silly season, to be fair, there was a drain cover issue this morning. Sebastian Vettel running over a drain cover on the outside of a corner, and that flicked up and caused a red flag. So I would imagine, although I've not heard anything just yet on Sky, that the FIA, the stewards, they're all out there having a look and just making sure that everything's okay on the track. But that was a little bit of a concern this morning. Red flag the session. That was the end of that because it was right towards the end anyway. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed all will be okay and we don't get too many quali delays. But I'd imagine they've at least got to go around the entirety of that corner and make sure they're all welded down properly. I don't know if they'd have to go around the entire track, but I don't know what FIA safety protocols are on that one, so I'll have to wait and see. But we might see a delay. I don't think we will. It's been... what time is it? It's 1:30 Sean in the UK, gone 1:30. So it's been an hour and a half since the session finished, so maybe they could have got around, just checked everything. We'll see on that one. Sorry, it's just really cold today. I have to rub my hands together. So if you hear that too much, apologies for that one. But I'm not moaning. I love this time of year. I love the autumn. So yeah, that's really the only thing to talk about from practice this morning. One thing I will say as well is from yesterday, Pierre Gasly's car had a massive fire, all caught fire. He's had a new chassis, I believe, but they've not had to change any power unit components. Or according to Crofty at least, and I've not seen anything from AlphaTauri saying they've had to change anything. So given the state of that fire, that's quite bloody impressive. I've got to say, if that didn't need any changes, but there you go. So Silly season. We've got to talk about it. As we come into this weekend with the big news, I guess, if not a little bit unsurprising, that Grosjean and Magnussen are being dropped or are not having their contracts renewed by Haas at the end of this year. They're going to be leaving. Not sure where they'll end up. I think Grosjean's talked a little bit about racing for Peugeot somewhere, and I think he's also talked about possibly Formula E. So that's potential. Kevin Magnussen not ruling out a shot at IndyCar. I'd quite like him to have a go at IndyCar. I'd also quite like to see him at NASCAR. I might actually give that a go if he goes, because I think that feels like a series he'd really enjoy. From the tiny amount of knowledge I have of NASCAR, I think Kevin Magnussen would actually quite enjoy that one. So good luck to both of them. I don't think we'll see them in Formula One next year. Certainly not Grosjean. I can't see anybody picking Grosjean up, really. K-Mag, again, I don't see a team picking up. I think I said this on Friday. The Kevin Magnussen one is not a little bit harder to swallow, but I kind of feel like he's still got more to give Formula One, if that makes sense. So if there were seats available, I think somebody would pick him up, but there just aren't that many seats. I think I was working out this morning, it's like 7, and 2 of them belong to Haas, and one of those is probably going to be filled by Lewis Hamilton. So it's unlikely we'll see him in F1, but good luck to both of them. And thanks to Rogro as well for his service. He's been around since 2009, bless him. I'm going to have to find another driver to banter Dan on. So we need to find out who Dan's going to support next year, and we can really give him some grief. That's my plan this winter. I'm going to bother him. Who you supporting? I want to hate him. And then he'll pick a driver I really like. But we can sort that out over the winter between us. But that's kind of led to a lot of speculation about who's going to fill that seat. Now, yesterday, I actually recorded it on Thursday, but the video that went out yesterday, I predicted that Mazepin and Mick Schumacher would be in that car next year. And then yesterday afternoon, reports started to build that Nikita Mazepin has pretty much done the deal to take one of those seats, and he is just awaiting confirmation of a super license, which he's going to get if he finishes top 7 anyway. He's 6th at the minute in the F2, but I think he probably can find a loophole to get through it anyway with the new FIA changes. We'll talk about that another day, maybe tomorrow. But Mazepin looks pretty much nailed on for that seat, and it looks as though it will be Mick Schumacher alongside him. That is the talk yesterday afternoon and this morning, that Mick Schumacher is favourite to be alongside Mazepin next year, because Alfa Romeo are going to stick with Kimi Raikkonen and Giovinazzi, and Ferrari would prefer to put Schumacher at Haas than put him at Alfa, which is really interesting. So it's looking like it's Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. And I will say, if that is the case, I really want Mick Schumacher to win the F2 title this year, because if Callum Ilott, for example, or Robert Schwartzman win the F2 title and they don't get an F1 seat, they're going to be stuck on the sidelines somewhere or have to go and find a career somewhere else, because they're going to end up in that really awkward void between being Formula 2 champion and making it into Formula 1. So if Schumacher gets a seat, I want him to win F2, because then at least Ilott and Schwartzman can stay where they are for another year. Because I really feel for Callum Ilott. He's not even on anybody's radar. Even Gunther Steiner saying he's not on their list of potential candidates. It baffles me that Robert Schwartzman is, and we know why Nikita Mazepin is, but he's on that list, and Yuki Tsunoda's going to make it to F1 next year by the look of it, yet Callum Ilott isn't considered by anybody. He's been fantastic this year, and it's really frustrating. But as I said in yesterday's video, that's the way it is in Formula 1. Just because a driver deserves a chance, it doesn't mean they're going to get that chance. It's always been the way in Formula 1. It's never going to change. 20 seats, 3 million drivers. That's just the way it is, unfortunately. So, yeah, Schumacher for F2 title if he's getting a seat. And then maybe have Ilott another season in F2, and perhaps he'll get a shot. Because I think there's going to be a real reshuffle in 22. I genuinely do. I think there'll be a few. Thinking back to 2013, a lot of talk about how Mercedes had stolen a march with the new regulations, and that kind of rumor will start to come out middle of next year. And then suddenly, if you say, for example, let's say the talk in the paddock is that Aston Martin have absolutely nailed the regulations for 22, and you're racing for McLaren and it looks like they haven't, you're going to be trying to find ways to maybe move things around and get a seat at Aston. So that, you never know what's going to happen next year. I'm quite looking forward to it. I do like a bit of speculation, you might have noticed. But what's crazy about this week is I don't know what to believe anymore. 2 days ago, I did not believe for a second that George Russell was under any threat. After he'd had his driver's press conference, I still didn't believe that George Russell was under any threat whatsoever. And then yesterday, the interim team boss, or whatever he's calling himself, at Williams, was asked directly about it. He said that the team haven't changed any of their plans with regards to their drivers. which to me hints at Russell and Latifi, this is the second Williams driver, staying for another year, at least honouring that contract for 2021. He was then asked directly, so can you confirm 100% you will be fielding George Russell and Nicholas Latifi next year? And he said words to this effect, basically, I don't want to fuel any more speculation, so I'm going to say no more on it. Bye, George. That's how it felt. As soon as I heard that, I was like, no. My heart absolutely sunk. It really, really did, because George Russell is such a good driver. And, you know, people rave about Lando Norris. There are people that rave about Alexander Albon. George Russell is as good as Norris. I still think as an overall all-round driver, George Russell is better. I think if you put Lando Norris and George Russell, I've said this so many times, in equal machinery and got them to do qualifying laps, Lando Norris would beat Russell. But if you put them in a race, I think Russell would just about pip Norris. I think they are very closely matched, but I do believe that Russell is the more all-round or better rounded driver at the moment. He's a little bit older as well, so that's probably where that comes from, a little bit more experience. So I can't quite believe we're talking about George Russell losing his seat. But again, like I just said on others, there just aren't enough seats and it's going to happen. And Williams, things have changed at Williams. They're not the same Williams that we knew and loved 6 months ago or even 2 months ago. They're just not anymore. It's about, they've got an investment company in charge of the team, which fine, they're going to inject the cash, but they're also going to want to make that money back. And if they want to make money, because if they want to sell it on, they're going to want to make a profit. That's how these things work. They're going to be business first and then probably everything else later. So if they can get someone like Perez in with some knowledge, someone who's got a benchmark as well with that racing point of what a car should feel like, he's got more experience than Russell, he's got more experience than Latifi. Of course they're chasing because he brings money as well. It just makes perfect sense for Williams. It's going to help them with 22. It's why I don't get angry with Haas too much, because it makes sense for them to take Mazepin because they get the money as well as having an okay driver. So they can develop for 22 and look for the long-term future. So it makes perfect sense to be chasing Sergio Perez for the money and for what he brings. But it's just such a shame that we're going to lose a driver with such talent and such huge potential. And I saw somebody make the point the other day that, if George Russell was all that good, then why haven't Mercedes taken him? I get so angry with Toto Wolff. I was mad about Pascal Wehrlein. I was mad about Esteban Ocon. I'll be mad about George Russell, that they're not getting their chance, that Mercedes aren't giving their young drivers the opportunity in the main team. But look at it from Mercedes' point of view, okay? They have got everything to lose. Red Bull can swap their drivers all they want. Ferrari can do the same. They've got nothing to lose. The worst that Red Bull are going to be is probably second. If Ferrari have a more normal season, the worst they're going to be is second or third. So there's no point in them worrying. They can swap any driver out they want. It doesn't really matter. It's not going to hurt them. Mercedes have got everything to lose. If you put a Russell in that car, or if they'd have put Ocon in there or Wehrlein, and they fail, suddenly these 7, what could be next year, 8 back-to-back titles are in jeopardy. So I kind of understand it from a Mercedes point of view, but it's frustrating that their youngsters are not getting the opportunities. But it comes back again for the third time to those not enough seats, too many drivers. But I tell you something right now. If I were Helmut Marko and Alex Albon did not step it up in the last few races of this season, we'll talk about him in a minute, no doubt whatsoever, I would at the very least explore the possibility of buying George Russell out of that Mercedes young driver deal and getting him in that car alongside Max Verstappen. I don't think it will happen. I don't think Mercedes will give him to Red Bull, but I would at least explore that possibility. As it is, I think we're probably going to lose George from Formula One next year. It's looking... I'll tell you what, we'll talk about Albon, because this kind of links in very nicely. What could save Russell's skin is Alexander Albon and whether or not he steps up. Interesting comments from Red Bull this morning. Jay in chat is not going to like it, but it's true. Christian Horner has essentially said that, has said directly, not essentially, that Alex Albon has 2 races. So the Portuguese Grand Prix this weekend and Imola next weekend to prove to Red Bull that he deserves that seat next year. He has got 2 races to perform to get a deal for next year. That is what they've said. They've also said that if he does not perform, they will have to look outside of the Red Bull program to find a replacement because they don't have any drivers that are ready or that they want to promote. So that's no to Gasly straight away, no to Kvyat. So if they do decide to drop Albon, Sergio Perez and Nico Hülkenberg are in line for a seat. And if Sergio Perez is picked up by Red Bull, that could keep George at Williams. So that could save his skin there. And I actually think Perez is a very good choice for Red Bull. I'm not convinced. I think they might lean more towards Hülkenberg, and I don't want to belittle Nico in any way, shape or form with what I'm going to say, but I think he'd be more willing to play second fiddle to Verstappen than Perez would. That's not to say that Hülkenberg isn't a good driver and he's just a number 2, but that's kind of how I feel. I just feel like he would be more content as a second driver at Red Bull. He might even get a podium. That's probably what it is. He's probably thinking, yes, a podium, it will do. I'll do anything, whatever you want, Mr. Marco. Please, I just want your seat. But I think he's more likely to take the second role than Perez. But don't forget next year, because people get annoyed when I say things like, Red Bull could do with the money. Of course, Red Bull don't need the money if you compare their finances to Haas or to Williams or to Alfa Romeo, for example. But they do still need money. And next year, they are losing their title sponsor, Aston Martin. So Sergio Perez coming in, a very good driver who will probably push Max quite hard. There's not a lot of pressure on him either. These youngsters that go into this second seat with Verstappen are under so much pressure. If you put an experienced driver in, there's a bit less pressure on them. So maybe it'd be a bit easier for Perez in that situation. He goes there, but he also takes some money to offset that sponsorship loss. Again, Red Bull aren't poor. They're not struggling for money, but they still want to recoup the money they're going to lose. So it's just a thought, just something to bear in mind. But I think that is the only chance that Russell at the moment, it feels like anyway, has got of staying in F1, other than Perez saying no thanks, which I still think he could do, by the way. I still think he could be. Qualifying's been delayed by 30 minutes, by the way. Thank you in chat. I was just going to finish my point, but I'll do it quickly before you all get all panicky. Just tweeted out to confirm qualifying for the Portuguese Grand Prix is delayed and will now start at 14:30 local time, which is just over 40 minutes. So we're going to be waffling for a little bit longer. So Quali delayed by 30 minutes while they fix the drains. That has been confirmed now. So 2:30 for Quali, which is interesting. It could be a while. Could be sat until 5 o'clock going Quali. It's been delayed by 30 minutes. Let's talk about bacon or whatever. We'll see. But yeah, I've totally lost the point I was making there on Perez. There is still the big top possibility he could turn around and say, I don't want to race a Williams. Why would I want to go to Williams? There is that possibility. I mean, if you're Perez, do you tell me in chat? I'm making you all Sergio Perez for 30 seconds. If you've got the choice of going off and racing somewhere like IndyCar or Formula E or NASCAR or round Tesco car park, are you taking that or are you moving to Williams? And Marta straight away, Williams better than nothing. That's my thinking, because I think he wants to stay in Formula One, but other than Red Bull and Williams, I don't see where he's going to go. So there you go. I just he's peaking his career as well. He said this the other day that he's at the sort of peak of his career now. He doesn't want to be moving on. He wants the right project, but he's also said he doesn't want to stay in F1 for the sake of staying in F1. But it was that phrase, I want, or I'm looking for the right project. Williams could be a project. Got these new investors in, they're spending money, or they want to spend money, and they want to turn this team around. Then maybe Williams is the right project for him. It's kind of why Seb's gone to Aston Martin, although they're in a better position, obviously, as they are at the moment. So maybe it will appeal. I just don't know. Sorry, slurping my drink. I just feel like, does Perez want to go from, at the minute, potential podiums to potentially 18th? I don't know. Can he take a year really trundling around at the back, maybe fighting Alfa and Haas? Because we don't know what's going to happen in 22. Williams might smash it. They might suddenly do what they did in 2014 and end up third again or something like that. So it might be a genius call, but I'm just... For me, the jury's out on the current owners as to how desperate they're going to be to get this team forward and how much it's going to be about making money. But a lot of you saying Williams and a couple saying, Formula One, you stay in Formula One. Marta making that point, but it's better than nothing. So absolutely. Jack Chambers says Extreme E. Very much looking forward to Extreme E. I'll be at the launch. I'm at the virtual launch on Tuesday. I'm not actually going anywhere. At the virtual launch on Tuesday. So that'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on, definitely. Hamilton versus Rosberg in Extreme E could be fantastic. I'm very, very happy. That could be fun. So, yeah, I don't know on Checo. I wouldn't blame him if he went to Williams. Equally, and it's not me sitting on the fence. I'm just looking at it as a driver. I'd also equally understand if he was like, I'm not driving around at the back of the field. I'll go race somewhere else. So I'm just going to pop my headphones on a minute because I'm just showing some footage of what's happening. So they are down at that corner where Seb was, I think that is, and they're just fixing those drains a bit more firmly, a bit more robust. But I mean, it's quite a serious issue, the drains, because we saw with, was it George Russell in Baku last year? Went over a drain cover and it ripped all the underneath of his car out. It's so dangerous when they get flicking up. Even with a halo, that comes flying at you. There's no guarantees a halo's doing anything. So yeah, delayed by 30 minutes. So it's not. It was scheduled to start in 7 minutes. It's going to start in 37 minutes. So you're stuck with me talking nonsense for another half an hour. I'm so sorry. So yeah, it is 30 minutes. We'll see. I mean, 30 minutes gives them plenty of time, doesn't it, to get it all sorted. I don't know if we might get another 10-minute delay here, another 15-minute delay there. We will see how it goes, but it's as long as they're sorting it. It's better that they take the extra half an hour now to make sure everything's fine, rather than have to stop the session 10 minutes in because a piece of drain has flicked up and hit a car, or worse, a driver, and we're in a mess. So yeah, it makes sense to do. Michael Massey is down there at the moment having a look at things. So yeah, there you go. I mean, silly season we could speculate all day on, so it's a good job that they've given us the 30-minute delay so we can keep talking nonsense. Why not? But yeah, I think if I'm predicting today based on everything that's happened in the last 24, 48 hours, I think Mazepin and Schumacher at Haas, that's done. It sounds like Kimi Räikkönen and Giovinazzi, which I understand from Alpha's point of view, but I must admit, it doesn't fill me with much excitement. I love Kimi, but I'm just not sold. They're just showing George Russell going through the red light at the end of the pit lane. He was adjusting something on his dash. So no grid penalty. So a warning for George Russell for leaving the pits with the red light on. It looks like it was down to the fact that he wasn't looking at the light. He was adjusting the dash, and obviously it was a red flag because it was a quick red flag as well. So he's got away with that one. But yeah, so Mick Schumacher, Mazepin at Haas. Alpha will stick with Raikkonen and Giovinazzi. I think now it's all down to Albon. It's all down to him. I was going to say Red Bull, but he needs to perform today. He needs to perform tomorrow. He's got to do the same at Imola. I'm really concerned for him because this sudden shift in Red Bull's narrative is very reminiscent of what happened with Pierre Gasly. I will admit, Red Bull were not as behind Pierre Gasly as they are with or as defensive of Pierre Gasly as they are with Alex Albon. But they were still saying things like, give him time, we're trying to help him, we're trying to get him to understand the car, and then suddenly the whole narrative switched, and that's how it feels this morning with what's happening with Albon. So I'm concerned that he's probably in a lot of trouble. He needs to deliver today, needs to deliver tomorrow, and it's not about, for the millionth time in the last 6 weeks, it is not about beating Verstappen. It is not about driving and being as quick as Lewis Hamilton. That's not what anybody is asking for from Alex Albon. What they're asking for is to be closer to Verstappen than what in some cases has been a second plus, and perform on a Sunday as well. That's what they want. That is what they're asking for. Make sure they're there. Again, if Verstappen's second, Albon needs to be third or fourth. If Verstappen's winning, he's got to be second or third. If Mercedes fall out of the race and Verstappen falls out of the race, Albon needs to be winning it. That's what they need from him. So if he does that, I think he'll have a chance of staying. But I get the impression based on what is the sudden switch in narrative. I suspect, and this is only speculation, of course, I don't have any inside knowledge. I wish I bloody did. I don't think people other than Red Bull really know, but I suspect a decision has already been pretty much taken one way or another, and it could be that Alexander Albon, from the outside looking in, we all go, he's not done a very good job, and Red Bull come out in 2 weeks and go, we're really happy, the data says he's great, we're sticking with him. Or it's a case that they're just going to turn around and be like, yeah, well, he didn't perform, even if we thought he did okay, and they give him the boot anyway. So I'd put it to you. Who do you think then? If Albon does get the boot at the end of this year, who's taking his seat? One surname. We've got time, so I can read a few out. See what you guys think. If I'm going for it today, I'd say Hülkenberg, because I think he's more likely again to be willing to sort of play that second fiddle a little bit more than Perez will. But I wouldn't rule Perez out because he is incredibly quick. We know he can score podiums in a midfield car, so he can do it in a Red Bull. I'm almost certain of that. And he brings a little bit of cash to offset that title sponsorship loss of Aston Martin. So, yeah, I'll go Hülkenberg, but I'd be chasing Russell. They could do with some youngsters that are capable or Formula One capable. I'd be having a look at that one, but I don't think Mercedes will let him go. And I don't see it's also been suggested by some fans on Twitter and that maybe Mercedes will buy Bottas out of his contract. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I really feel for Russell, because he signed a contract with Williams, and Claire Williams said to Mercedes, "No, you're not having him. We're keeping him for another year." And then they've gone and let the team go, and the new owners have come in and obviously found a loophole because the contract was signed before they bought the team, and can now try and get him out of that. So we'll see. I will say, I don't know what money that Russell brings. I don't know. I assume there's a discount with the Mercedes engines. Do they want to lose? That's going to be the thing, isn't it? Can they afford to lose that discount? Are they looking for another engine partner? Could they be looking for another engine partner? Renault's been touted, the return of the Williams-Renault days. Maybe they're not bothered. Maybe they're not bothered about whether they lose those Mercedes engines. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting year at Williams. I will say that. So, Warren M's gone with Hülkenberg. Rayan has gone Hülkenberg as well. Harman says Red Bull should get Max and Hulk. Annette has gone with Hülkenberg. ESD Raptor Racing's gone with Hülkenberg. Dasper's gone with K-Mag. Unidentifiable Smurf. Oh, every time. Has gone for Perez. Hülkenberg for IA32. Astro's gone for pronunciation. Is that me being terrible with pronunciation? Probably. Hulk for Razzo. It could be a different conversation, actually, to be fair. Jack Cartwright says it's got to be Gasly. I've not mentioned Gasly, have I? A good point. I don't see it. It was the line from Christian Horner, they'd have to look outside of their own program. That tells me they're not interested in Gasly. And then it suddenly came to me earlier, what if these rumours of Gasly talking to Renault are true? Cyril Abiteboul, these rumours come out that Gasly's talking to Renault. Cyril Abiteboul turns around and says Ocon's not doing good enough, he needs to step it up, basically. Not those exact words, they're clearly paraphrased, but essentially saying Ocon needs to up his game. These rumours are there about Gasly. Maybe. And then this is what's allowing Red Bull to think about dropping Albon and pop him in the AlphaTauri alongside Yuki Tsunoda, bring in a Hülkenberg or a Perez or whoever else, and then off goes Gasly to replace Ocon at Renault, because Gasly's been superb this year. I think even his biggest critics from last year would sit down and go, yeah, he's been pretty bloody good this year, to be fair. 53 points in that AlphaTauri. I know the win was, a lot of factors helped with that one, but, he still did it, so incredible season. Even forgetting the win, he's been so good. Commander Benkai's gone with Hülkenberg. Philip's gone with Hülkenberg as well. Let's see if somebody other than Hülkenberg. A lot of people love Hülkenberg, I know that. J Paul, come on, Alex. I know you want Albon there, mate. We'll see. A lot of people saying Hülkenberg. Astro, I've already said, has gone with Perez. Ben Roberts has gone with Perez as well. Hülkenberg or Russell for Falco. Justin's gone with Maldonado. There's always one. Russell for James. Button for Findlay. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Herbert. I think Martin Brundle jokingly put his name forward yesterday for the Haas seat. Then accused good designer of being ageist. It was only a joke, of course. So yeah, a lot of love for Hülkenberg, as I'd expect. I think most people probably will lean towards that one. The live coverage has started, as it always does, on the hour, 2 o'clock. Don't forget, 30-minute delay if you're just tuning in, because they're sorting out the drain covers. What corner is it? I can't remember what corner it is. Completely gone from what corner it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is it 10? No? I don't know. Somebody will tell me in chat. I can't remember. 14, there you go. So they're doing some drain repairs on that. Flicked up in FP3, so 30-minute delay we've got to wait for. Thank you, chat. Tiff. Tearful. I'll let you all catch up now. So there you go. That's a silly season speculation all sorted, really, for this one. Lewis Hamilton, I think there is an element of uncertainty over his future. I'm not going to go too deep into that one. I know I've got the time, but I kind of want to make a video of it, to be honest. But I think he is at the very least, even if it's just 1% of him, I think there is a little bit of him at least considering his options for 2021. Maybe retirement. I don't see him moving from Mercedes. I think it is a case of he will stay at Mercedes or he will retire. I'm still pretty sure he's going to stick around because I think the opportunity to go for Title 8 next year is too great. I mean, the team are going to go in as a team to beat. He's going to go in as a driver to beat and probably the favourite. So I think he'd be mad to walk away. If he does want that record, I'm assuming he does. He might not. He might not want the record. I assume he does because racing drivers want to be the best, don't they, with things like stats and that on track and all of this business. So I think he will stay at Mercedes. I think the deal will be done. It is the latest he's ever signed a contract, though. His latest before that was the end of September, and that was in 2012 when he signed for Mercedes. So it does make me raise my eyebrow a little bit, but I also like to go back to the fact that we are only 3 months into this season. So maybe that's a factor in why it's a little bit late as well. But I think he's thinking about it. I wouldn't blame him. He's going to get Title 7 this year. He's going to get most wins of all time. He's got most poles of all time. Maybe he might call it a day. And if he does, that could also save Russell's skin. But I would be very surprised if Mercedes went Russell and Bottas for 21. I think they'd probably go and really chase a Max Verstappen. Don't know. I don't know. It's a difficult one with Hamilton. I've never been able to read the guy. Never. It's not a bad thing. I like having to second guess, but I've never been able to read kind of what he wants to do with his career. But I look at everything else he's got going on, and at the very least, I think he's sitting down and thinking, he said himself he doesn't know if he wants to do another 3 years. They do this in 3-year stints usually with contracts, so he doesn't know if he wants to commit to it for that long. He's not made a decision, and he's having a good think about it. But they don't have to rush this Mercedes. If Hamilton stays in F1, he wants to stay at Mercedes. If Hamilton stays in F1, Mercedes want him to stay with them. There's no rush. They've got to the end of the year, so we'll see. We will see. I'm going to have a good ponder on that, do some reading, find some quotes and see what I could do, and maybe put something together at some point on that, probably after Imola now, because it's going to be busy next week again. So, yeah. Max will beat Russell and Bottas over a season, I think, says Chimp F1. I tend to agree with that. I think Russell now, yeah. Russell 5 years' time, maybe not. We'll see what he does with his potential if he's still in F1. It does worry me. I look at Ocon. I think he did a really good job in his first stint in Formula One. People will come at me for that, that's fine, but I think he did a very good job. And he had reliability issues. He wasn't a million miles away from Perez. He beat him in qualifying, which is a real example of a driver's raw speed. I think he did a good job. That year away has not done him any favours at all. It really hasn't. And I'm looking at him this year. He's really disappointed me. I don't think he's been god-awful. He is up against a pretty decent teammate in Daniel Ricciardo, but I think we need to see more from him, and I thought we would see more from him. I think Kenneth Ocon is good, just not great. What have I said? Is it? Yeah, it's Ocon, isn't it? I've always maintained it's both overrated and underrated. People are like, oh, he's terrible, and others are going, he's the best driver ever, future world champion. When the truth is, he's actually probably somewhere in the middle. That's the truth. That's how I view it. So, if Red Bull change driver, do you think new driver for long term or short term, says Yash? I think short term. I think they'll go with a Perez or Hülkenberg and then see where the market is, because Norris might not be content at McLaren in the future, and I know Red Bull have looked at him in the past. Russell might fall out of the Mercedes program if he doesn't get a seat in Formula One, so he might be one for them to look at in a couple of years' time. There's Yuki Tsunoda. We don't know how he's going to do. I think they'll go short term. We've also got Yuri Vips coming through. His name's completely gone. I forgot him last time. Who's the other guy they've got? I think he's in F3. I'm going to write his name down. As soon as it comes up, I'm going to write his name down so I don't forget him. I forgot him last week, or not last week, week before. Liam Lawson, there you go. So I think there are people coming through for Red Bull. The problem for them with their young driver program is they just kept promoting them and giving them a chance and then booting them out and bringing the next ones in, and then they ran out of talent. So now they're having to wait for that that program, that pool of drivers to catch up and become good enough and old enough for F1 and get the super license points. So I think that's kind of what they're waiting for. So I think it would be a short term, maybe Perez and Hulkenberg for a couple of years, and then bring in either one of their own drivers if they think they're ready, or like I say, go and look at other young drivers that are out there. I'd be amazed if they went with a young driver. I mean, they're already looking outside their pool. So is it possible for Estoril to be inserted into F1 calendar again? Does that circuit need major revamp for it to happen? That's from Youssef. I'm not sure, to be honest, on Estoril. I'm really not. What I do know is I think if the race is half decent tomorrow, Portimao should be getting a place on that calendar in 22. It's not, none of these ones that we've got this year, like the Nürburgring, Portimao, none of those are going to be on the calendar next year. It's too late for that. Even though that calendar's not finalised, there's contracts in place, there's all sorts going on. Maybe 22, we could see Portimao get a permanent spot, but I don't know if Estoril is ready, what state it's in. But I'll have a look and have a dig, but I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not going to try and make something up and pretend that I know. It's beautiful, I went last week, or anything like that. So yeah, if you're just tuning in, just a reminder, 22 minutes until qualifying starts. There's a 30-minute delay as they fix some drainage or some drain covers at turn 14, which came off during FP3. The marshals are at turn 4 at the moment as well, by the look of it. So they're on track having a look. I'm going to put my headphones on now, which means I get the joys of Crofty as well as listening to myself. So I've got Crofty in one ear talking crap, and then I've got me in my other ear talking crap. It's fantastic. What a time to be alive. Let's see what they're up to. But they're testing the drains at turn 4, turn 12. There's a marshal there with a stick, testing to make sure they don't come up. So they are checking, by the look of it, if not all of the circuits, certainly most of it, to make sure it's all down. But yeah, concern. Crofty, not sure if we're seeing if this is live or from a few moments ago, but it still looks like they're checking stuff out. So there might 20 minutes to go. We might see another delay. I don't know if we will. If so, we'll need topics for conversation. Chimp F1's got it on mute to avoid Crofty. Crofty's all right. I'd take Crofty over Jonathan Ledyard any day of the week. I don't mind him. It just sometimes he says stuff and I'm just like, oh, Crofty, please. I think we're about 3 minutes into FP1 on Friday, and it was something about track times being deleted, and he was getting all excited. And I was like, mate, just chill now. That's it. We got the joke first time. Shut up. He's not bad. Yeah. Commentary-wise, if I had my way, you'd be looking at Alex Jakes, and I do love Martin Brundle, but I think if they do look for anybody to ever replace him, get Nico Rosberg in there. He does not take any crap from any commentary, and I love having. I quite like the banter they have during free practice, but I also like having a Paul di Resta in there or a Nico Rosberg that will pull the conversation back to what's happening on track. So. Yeah. Lando to Red Bull, George to McLaren Mercedes, so he's still in the Mercedes family, says Charlotte Taylor. Oh, tinfoil hats on. Yes, of course, McLaren will be Mercedes, won't they, next year? Interesting. I can't see McLaren letting Lando go this year. Maybe when Lando's contract is up, that could be a possibility. But that's an interesting one. Oh, look what that's all your fault now, Charlotte. That's me sat downstairs now thinking, oh my God, what if it's true? What if it's true? The thing with Rosberg is he doesn't really have a filter, says Kenneth. You're watching the F1 word, mate. I've barely got a filter. I just talk nonsense. Murray Walker was so funny, entertaining, even if often not that accurate, says Astro. You were very generous there, often not that accurate. Some of the things he got wrong, fantastic. Oh, Murray, bless him. Well into his 90s and still going strong. He was always getting stuff wrong, but it was, you let him off. Qualifying starts in about, we're at 11 minutes past, so half past. It's about 20 minutes time, 19 minutes time. Yash says, how sure are you that Verstappen stays with Red Bull in future after Honda exit? He's there for next year, isn't he? We know that, so immediate future. certain that he'll stay. I mean, I say certain again. Lewis Hamilton retires. If Lewis Hamilton turns around and goes, do you know what? I am going to go. I've had enough. See you later, guys. Thanks for everything. I don't think he will, but let's say he does. Mercedes will chase Max, and if he's got the opportunity to get in a car next year and challenge for the title, which that Mercedes will, he might. Contradicting reports from Red Bull. One side are saying that there is a clause, others are saying there isn't, and maybe there is a clause there with Honda leaving. So I don't know. We'll see. I think he's there till at least the end of 22. I think he'll give 22 a chance. And if it's still not going his way, then he'll probably look at moving on. But I think next couple of years he'll stay. But he is going to be the driver in demand when because Lewis Hamilton will retire one day. It's a guarantee. When Lewis Hamilton retires, Verstappen's going to be the driver that everyone that whoever Hamilton's with at the time is going to chase, probably Mercedes. And I think that's the same. Leclerc will be one that gets chased as well for the future. So things will change. If Red Bull nail it in 22, he'll stay because he can challenge for titles. If they absolutely cock it up and Mercedes is still the team to beat, he's going to be chasing that Mercedes seat. So long term, all down to 22. I think he's there for a couple of years, though. I don't see him going anywhere just yet. Dave the Fish says, now Lewis will drive till he drops. Well, Kimi's still going, isn't he? It looks like he's staying another year next year. Bless him. But just on Red Bull, by the way, I think it's looking more and more likely. Things have gone a bit quiet, but it is looking more and more likely that they're going to be getting the Honda IP, the intellectual property of the Honda power unit, the designs and all of that, basically. And that's going to be rebranded as something. I still think Mugen, because Mugen is in Milton Keynes, and that just works. Red Bull, Milton Keynes, Mugen, Milton Keynes, bring them together, perfect. But it's all down to this engine freeze. And it looks like Ferrari aren't keen, which some people are surprised about. That Ferrari don't fancy an engine freeze. This is Ferrari who've got the worst engine on the grid this year. Of course they're not going to want the engine freeze. You need Brundle or a former driver to offer that perspective, says Raptor Racing. Completely agree. That's why I like Martin Brundle. He just says it is as well, doesn't he? He tends to upset a lot of people, but and I think that Nico Rosberg does the same. He likes to push people, likes to challenge people, and I like that. I'm just going to have a drink. Bear with me. David Coulthard says Munro. I was never a fan of Coulthard in commentary, to be honest. Maybe controversial opinion. I just never really liked him in commentary. Weirdly. But that's it from Connor Smith. Nico's insight when he's on commentary is phenomenal. He just gave us so much stuff, didn't it? It just shows that replay actually from Baku last year when George Russell went over that drain cover, the damage it can do. But yeah, Rosberg's insight and stuff, he's driven these modern day, this era of Formula One car, hasn't he? Or at least the power unit. So he kind of understands things with the torque and that a lot better than Martin Brundle can, who's not driven a Formula One car in anger since the 90s. So I like that. It's also why I like having Jensen Button on board. Just some more recent drivers and mixing it up. But I quite like a lot of the Sky team. I do like Anthony Davison. I'll always have a soft spot for him. He just makes me laugh. And he's a bit geeky. Just a bit me, really. I quite like him for that. Qualifying delayed. No, it's just a repeat. Qualifying delayed until 14:30 local time. Track repairs in progress at turn 14. So safety car and that look like they're heading away now. But yeah, I like most of the Sky team. Like Chandok as well. Love Ted. And there you go. So see what's going to happen. I don't know if anything is going to get postponed. We've only got 14 minutes to go until the session starts. They're still working on it down there, using a heat gun to try and, dry whatever they've done to it. See what they're going to do. And looking at their watch down there, so there is concern. Charles Leclerc getting ready. He's in the garage right now. Getting his fireproofs on and all that business. It's drain covers, Dave. Dave the Fish. If you can hear me under the water there. Dave the Fish. Yeah, it's the drain covers at turn 14. Seb Vettel ran over one in FP3, and it pulled it up and it's scattered it across the track. So they're just going around and making sure that that one's been secured properly and that all the others are okay too. So we've got a 30-minute delay as a result. But I'm just going to keep an eye on the TV and sort of talk you through what they're showing us, because obviously I can't show you footage. I'll do my disclaimers. This is just going to be live timing provided by the awesome folk, the awesome fella that is Cranky Yankee F1. When we get over to the timing screen, I'll bring you updates from the sessions. Just really crap commentary, really, and lots of waffle too, and lots of interaction with you guys. And we'll do some predictions shortly as well in a few minutes. So I would never, ever, ever dare to show race footage anyway. But given the situation I'm in at the moment, there's absolutely no way I'm going to risk it. I've put just for a quick update. I don't know what. Yeah, for a quick update, I've put in a counter notification now to YouTube, and if FOM decide that they want to take it any further, they're going to have to tell me they want to take me to court. So I am fighting it, and I'm not going to give up. And it feels so unnecessary for a video that completely tanked, quite frankly, but it's just the principle of it, and I'm a stubborn git with nothing better to do, so I'm quite happy to take off FOM with that one. But I suspect that in 2 weeks, when the deadline's over, they're probably just going to be like, oh, never mind. So it's not really worth their time. There you go. FOM is Formula One Management. Liberty Media, basically, their media side of things, who deal with that. So striking content that doesn't belong to them. I can fight it, James Smith, because the images in the video that we used are owned. The footage, the specific footage they've claimed is from Haas's filming day in February, and Haas gave me and other YouTubers and journalists and media access to that, and we were given permission to use it for editorial and critical and all of that for fair use reasons. But Haas give explicit permission for that in their terms and conditions. So what FOM have claimed is footage from February saying that it was from FP2 in Spain this year, which it wasn't. It was from Haas's filming day, and it belongs to Haas, and I've got permission to use it. So that's what I'm fighting. I would never use. I know some do, some do, and some will go for it. But I just will never use footage without full permission from teams or full permission. Same with the photos. I always get full permission from from whoever owns them, essentially. So a lot of the pictures on screen now are from teams' content pools, and then anything else is from GP Today as part of my agreement with them. So I always like to just err on the side of caution, because it's just not worth the hassle. It's just impossible to fight FOM sometimes. So if I said this to, I think it was Kirill on Twitter, I said to him that if I'd have taken some race footage and taken a gamble, I would just take the L and ignore it. But the footage didn't belong to them, and that's why I'm fighting it, because it was a part of the media pool at Haas. Just watching Lando Norris is on board around what is definitely, I get the, they call it a roller coaster for a track, don't they? And I can completely understand why, because it just looks so good. I've not seen, and I need to watch it after Quali, the pole lap. I've not watched a full lap on board yet, but it looks so cool. No worries, James. Just letting you know. But you're right on fair use. I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. I said, "Oh well, it doesn't matter. You can use this, that, and it's fair use, and you can stateside. Is it fair dealing in the UK? And it's not the same. It's a little bit, yeah. So I just err on the side of caution. It's just easier. And there will be a face reveal, James. I am determined by the start of next season to be using face cam for things like this, because I'm going to get it all set up. I'm going to get it all sorted, and that will remove some of the need for pictures. But I won't just go face cam. I know some people are like, no, I don't want to see your face. You hideous oaf. But I will for some things. Maybe for news roundups and probably for the watch-alongs as well, because then I can just sit and pull faces at you all for 2 hours. That's my goal for the start of next season. Oh, my tea's gone cold. Ugh. So yeah, there you go. There you go. I'll do my YouTube a bit, actually. 1,200 watching. Thank you for listening to me waffle. You're nuts, but I love it. 161 likes. Please do drop a like. Let's even get that a lot higher before the end of the stream. I always say it. The streams never seem to do well with likes. I think it's because I'm too busy talking. You're like, oh, shut him up. For God's sake. I'm not liking it because he won't shut up. But yeah, please do drop a like. Massively appreciate it. And do subscribe if you're new as well. Same... The content we've had this week, obviously apart from Haas announcement, will be pretty much the same next week, but for Imola. So I can't wait for Imola. Oh, it's going to answer that argument once and for all. Should Imola be on the F1 calendar? Great race, yes. Terrible race, no, let's forget about it. Leave it to history. Nick Holmes wants to know why I don't do watch-alongs, race watch-alongs. I'm just trying to sort something that I don't know if you've. I assume you saw them before. We used to have a really cool timing graphic from Cool Timings. It was the coloured bars that sort of really moved in the race, and we could see the gaps to everybody and where they come out with the pits. So it was a really nice little visual on screen. But the guy that does those is like super busy at the minute, and they've not been updated for this year, and they've not had the things done to them they need to do with coding and that. So he's trying to get that sorted, but he works more than full time. So he's trying to sort that out, and I don't want to come back until I've got that, because I love those visuals and they work so well. So I'm hoping before the end of this season. Worst case scenario, we'll try and aim for whatever the first race of next year is. But they're not gone forever. With Qualify, you can get away with just a timing screen. With the race, I like to have those really cool visuals. So we're working on it, but I'm not going to pressure him because I know that he's massively busy. So it's all right for me doing this as a job. I can sit here and talk nonsense all day, and I can take my time as much as I want. Whereas he's got like. I'm going to do it in air quotes because I hate this phrase, but he's got a real job and has to put the effort in. So, yeah, but that's yeah, that was a long way around it. Should we do some predictions then? 7 minutes at the moment anyway, at least until qualifying starts. What's your top three today? I'm going to stick with my prediction of Bottas. And I'm going to say, I'm going to put Verstappen between them. I think we'll still have two Mercedes in the top three, but I'm going to stick Verstappen second because he's very close, but don't rule him out for pole. I could change my prediction, but I like to stick with my pole prediction because otherwise doing predictions on a Wednesday or Thursday is totally pointless. So, but I would not rule out Max for pole at all today. If you missed the result from this morning, he was 1.5 tenths off on the harder compound tyre, the medium tyre, so he's definitely in that one. But yeah, who's your top three? I'll read some out in just a moment. Just watching replays here of Romain Grosjean in Malaysia. God, I missed that track. In 2016, catching a drain cover and into a massive crash, rips off the rear wheel. So looks like we are getting ready for quali because Alex Albon is getting in the car. So we'll read your predictions. George FBR says Bottas, Hamilton and Norris. Razzo says Hamverbot, Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas. Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, Hamilton. Ben's gone with Bottas, Hamilton and Norris. Have I just read that one? No. Somebody else thinks Norris will make top three. Awesome. I must have missed something in practice. McLaren, not too bad today, are they? Or this morning anyway. Twisted Vision says Bottas, Hamilton, Verstappen. Astro, Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen. Ooh, Ian's gone with Leclerc, Hamilton and Bottas. Leclerc's been going all right actually so far this weekend. Flying Tiger, Hamilton, Max and Bottas. Put the house on Lewis for pole. Too easy for him, says James Smith. J. Paul says, damn. That was an accent, by the way. I don't know what the accent was, but it was an accent. Jack's gone with Max, Bottas and Hamilton. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas. For Brabham, Commander Benkai's gone with Verstappen, Bottas, Ricardo. Interesting. Bottas, Hamilton and Norris for George. Dan Philpott's gone with the Grosjean pole, obviously. Do you know, if he can get a really good result, him and Magnussen, before the end of the year, I'd be very happy. I'd be very, very happy. Baby G's gone with Verstappen, Hamilton and Vettel. Bottas, Hamilton, Perez for Finlay. I don't know if I've read that one already, but you've got it again if I did. Hamilton, Bottas, Leclerc for Blue Calm. And one more. Let's go with... two more. I'm going to read this one. Formula Racer, Latifi, Magnussen, Grosjean. Love the optimism. Can I have whatever you're drinking? And final one, Hamilton, Bottas and Norris for Connor. There we go. So a few putting Norris in there in the top three, which is interesting. Where was he this morning? Was he about ninth, I think, wasn't he? So... yeah, I mean, it's so close, isn't that midfield? It could be anybody. It could be any one of about 6 drivers to end up causing a bit of a surprise. So see, yeah, Norris down in 9th place, Sainz in 7th. So maybe there's some pace in there, but what were they? 5/10 off for Sainz, 8 for Norris. Yeah, why not? Why not? I like the optimism. Why not, indeed? We'll go to the watch on screen shortly. Just looking at Valtteri Bottas on screen at the moment, topping all practice sessions, which is good to see. K-Mag there, 113 race starts. Of course, first race in Australia. I always forget K-Mag's been on the podium. That first race in Australia, finished P3, promoted to P2 when Daniel Ricciardo was thrown out of the race. So, yeah. Was that McLaren, before this season, McLaren's last podium? 2014 as well. Go. No, before, because Carlos Sainz on Brazil last year. So before last year, it was our last podium, wasn't it? So there you go. That answers that one. I forgot about Sainz's podium. We didn't get to see him on the podium, did we, in the end? So, yeah. Is Hulkenberg racing or Stroll? Good question from Astro. Just for anybody who's not kept up with it this week, Lance Stroll did test positive for COVID-19. Shock horror. At the Nürburgring, but he didn't have a test until he got home, I believe. So, yeah. A bit of controversy around that. One Racing Point had been given a warning because I think Lawrence Stroll has tested positive as well. So that's not gone down very well. They didn't test him despite the fact feeling ill. I know that the doctor apparently said, oh, well, they weren't COVID symptoms. We didn't think he had it. If you've got a driver during a worldwide pandemic that feels a little bit off, you bloody test them. Regardless of what their symptoms are, you test them to make sure. It would only take one driver, one silly moment to completely derail the rest of this season, and that's it. So you test them. That was a really odd call from Racing Point, quite frankly. But he is okay. He's back in the paddock. Nico Hulkenberg is there, though, just in case anybody needs him. But of course, if he's not used, is he? That's it. That's a good point. Yeah, whatever happens now, Nico Hulkenberg will not deputise for anybody because he has to complete a practice session before he can go into the race and qualifying his practice. So as soon as that light goes green, that's it for Nico. So it'll be Stroll or nobody this weekend, basically. But he is okay. He's absolutely fine. He's in the car now. So nice and timely there. Let's head over to the watch on screen. Hopefully it's all set up okay. As suspected, it's not. I'm having to use this on the browser today. So just bear with me while I make few adjustments on this one. Because it's all completely wrong. So I'm going to go quiet for a second because I cannot multitask when I'm doing live streams. I can multitask when I'm doing other things, but for some reason I can't do it when I'm doing live streams. Quite bizarrely. So yes, make sure it's all set up. I think actually running order from this morning, actually, so it's not too bad. I think that's 20 drivers. I will wait until we get some times on the board. You know I just sat and counted them. There are 20 drivers on there. Oh, dearie me, Sean. Individually as well. I didn't even do it like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 or anything like that. I did them individually because I'm a loser and I don't even care. Right, I'll get the timer set up because we have a green light at the end of the pit lane. Finally, qualifying is underway. Fantastic stuff. All sorted. We are green for qualifying. Great stuff. Some nice early runners. Gasly, Sainz, Perez, Norris, Kvyat, Raikkonen, Gio, Magnussen, Latifi and Grosjean all out on track straight away, which is good to see. Once again, while they're all doing their out laps, just a reminder, no on-track footage for pretty obvious copyright reasons, but also thank you massively to Cranky Yankee F1 as well for the live timing. Gonna watch his latest video this afternoon, now I know he exists, about Drive to Survive, so see if that's any good. If you've seen it, let me know if it's worth a watch. I'm sure it is, but yeah. Carbslut wants to know who spins first. My money's on Charles, apparently. We'll see. I don't know. I might actually just lose the sector ties from that because it's kind of pointless because you can't see them all. So we'll scroll it across a little bit. Everybody but the 2 Mercedes and Max Verstappen on track at the moment. Wonder what? Yeah, just wonder what. Just listen to Crofty there. He's on about whether or not we might see a few quiet laps first, and maybe straight back in the pits, or whether we'll see some absolute flyers. It's tracks just rubbering in all the time, all the time. And readjust that as well. I think we can probably make that a little bit bigger. Lose that bit at the top. We don't need to know. We don't need the header, do we? There we go, look. It'll help. It'll help a little bit, if nothing else. We're watching Sergio Perez out there. Purple sectors, obviously, because he's the first one to set a lap time at the moment, at least. Kimi Räikkönen on a lap as well. Lots of cars out there. Again, everybody but the two Mercedes and Max Verstappen. Kvyat goes fastest at the moment, 1:18.4. That's going to get beaten by Sergio Perez's 1:18.0. I tell you, that crest, as they come sort of towards the start-finish line, it always looks like they could just take off, doesn't it? It looks fantastic. And then there's another crest, I think it's between 4 and 5, where they just look so good. It is such a good track to watch cars around, but we need good racing as well, because I tell you something now, cars looking good on track is a novelty that soon wears off. You still need the racing to be pretty decent, so superb track. Why have we never been here before? George Russell going slow. I assume letting traffic through or getting a bit of space. I think he's getting a bit of space by the look of it. It's still on the line, so no issues there. Yeah, absolutely, Dave. It does show the downforce that they don't take off, doesn't it? I mean, once upon a time, that kind of thing would have seen cars airborne. Around the old Nordschleife, they used to go airborne, didn't they? So just listen to Otmar Safnauer at the moment, because he's talking to Crofty about what they were told. Otmar Safnauer was concerned it could go longer, so glad that they're out there. So we'll keep an eye out. Hopefully no issues with the drain. There's a Alfa Romeo going slow there off the racing line, staying out of Carlos Sainz's way. Albon goes at 1:34.3. I'm assuming that was a sort of warm-up lap. Sergio Perez is fastest. Sainz goes at 1:18.1 into second place. Got George Russell, 4 tenths off Perez this time, nearly 5 tenths down at the moment. We've got cars. It's so deceptive, the camera angles. Always looks like there's going to be a massive accident when they come flying around the corners and there's cars getting out of the way, but everything okay. Latifi goes up to 9th on a 1:18.9. Still very early, obviously, in the session. Gasly 6th and Kvyat 7th for AlphaTauri. 8 tenths of a second between Perez in 1st and Latifi in 9th. George Russell over the line. He goes into 9th place. What is that Renault going to do? I think on an outlap. Yes, it is indeed. Esteban Ocon. So Russell gets out of the way. That's how you do it at turn 1. Let's not get into that one. 1:18.1 from Sebastian Vettel. He goes 2nd. Only a 10th off of Sergio Perez. Charles Leclerc, 1:17.974 goes fastest. That's beaten by Max Verstappen, who's a 1:17.7, and Alex Albon goes 7th on a 1:18.2. So half a second between the two Red Bulls, 6 tenths separating the top 11 at the moment. Here come the Mercedes, though. Perez goes fastest, 17.6. It's a little bit hectic out there. Track rubbering in. Gasly moves up to 5th. Kvyat into 4th place in the second AlphaTauri and the other AlphaTauri. Bottas purple in the first sector, as you might expect, and in the second sector by the look of it. He is indeed. Lewis Hamilton, a couple of tenths off his teammate in the first sector. We'll see what he does in the middle sector. Well off. I think Hamilton's backed off his lap. I'd assume so. About 4 seconds off the pace. Ocon moves into third, 1:17.9. You'd take that grid, wouldn't you? Perez, Verstappen, Ocon, Leclerc, Fiat, Gasly, Vettel as your top 7. See what Bottas does. I assume fastest indeed he is. Ooh, half a second quicker than Sergio Perez, 1:17.0. Ricardo, he's on a lap as well. Norris has gone purple in the first sector, 3/10 down in the middle. But looking like a good lap from Lando. Daniel Ricciardo goes 5th. Latifi, personal best in the first sector. Norris is out there. As I've already said, we're on board with him now. I get to watch him through these final couple of corners, which just look awesome. Fantastic, don't they? They really do. Hamilton's still last at the moment. Over the line goes Norris. He goes 2nd, 4/10 off Bottas's time. Gonna wait to see what he does. Hamilton's on a better lap. We've got a yellow flag out there. Green flag, which is a brief one. Lycan says the stream sucks. Get lost then. That's fine. Hamilton goes 2nd on a 1:17.1. What's Verstappen? Is he the cause of the yellow flag? Yes, he is. Wide. Back end got out by the look of it. Through turn 1. Went wide. That time would definitely be deleted, but I don't think he was going to make any time on that one. So there you go. What's Albon going to do? Moves up right behind Verstappen, 1:17.7. Only 2 100ths off his teammate. That's better. That's better, but it is only Q1, so I think Helmut Marko would quite like that. See what Max does on his next run. Harry Brown says, think he was saying it sucks. It says watch along and it's a radio show. Watch along. You watch, I watch, we watch along together. If you've got the money to buy FOM rights for me to show the footage, send it my way, mate. Until then, nothing I can do. It's quite a common thing used in the football YouTube world is the word watch along. They watch the match, you watch the match, and you chat about it while going on. It's quite clear. Everybody knows what it is, and that's that. So that's up to them. It's pretty obvious. I don't click on the United stand and get mad when I'm watching Mark Goldbridge and not a football match. What's Verstappen? There you go, 1:16.8. That's better from Max. I was a little bit worried when Bottas went half a second quicker. I thought, oh no, here we go. Verstappen all teasing us in practice and it's gone wrong. There you go. Yeah, Gasly, pretty pacey, still in 6th place. So that wasn't fake speed, if you like, this morning. That was good pace from Pierre Gasly, P6. Lance Stroll 8th at the moment. What a Racing Point doing? Perez still up in 4th. So, yeah, kind of in that midfield fight as you would expect. Albon 8, yeah. Yeah, 8/10 off his teammate at the moment, but this is the thing in that midfield. I said this last time, didn't I, when watching Quali, that Albon, for example, Alex Albon, 8/10 of a second off his teammate, but he is only 3/10 off 4th place. It's so close in that midfield, close in that midfield that anybody could go from 10th to 4th in one really good lap. So, yeah. I am doing devil horns. Thank you, appreciate that, mate. It just annoys me when people have a pop about the watch-along thing when the description quite clearly reads that it's not any footage and all of that business, and it's blatantly obvious based on copyright law that I can't show the footage. But I've been having this argument for 2.5 years, so it just gets so boring. I've just got no patience for it anymore. I used to be quite nice at explaining it. Now I can't be asked, quite frankly. Yeah. And I've always said, and when I had the FE channel, the Formula E channel, I was allowed to show race highlights. If I could show footage, I bloody well would. In seconds, I'd love to be able to put a proper stream on for you with race footage, but I can't. It's the law. And I'm sure somebody questioned me on this the other day. I'm sure that Sky bought the rights for it. I'm sure over a 5 or 6 year period. I think it was close to £1 billion. I'm sure it was. I might be wrong. I might even get mixed up with the football again, but I'm sure it was a massive amount of money. It wouldn't have been the football, actually, would it? Because the football absolutely costs a fortune. Obscene amounts of money. So what have we got? We're in that little lull now, coming up to the final 5 minutes. We've got some going out now, so we've got a racing point out there. I think that is Stroll. It is indeed Lance Stroll going out on track. Kind of half the field out there, half the field in the pits at the moment. So we're getting the final runs. This track is rubbering constantly, a bit of evolution as well. They lost some time yesterday morning too, so... just while they're doing their outlap. Brabham says Chazza has a new video out. It's, yeah, good to see Chaz back, bless him. We've missed him. Hope he's... I assume he's... I don't know if he is listening. If he is, hope things are getting better, mate, and you're feeling a bit better. You always know where I am and others in the community are if you ever need to talk. So, yes, take care, mate, and good luck now that you're back. The more the merrier in the F1 YouTube community. It's good fun. It's grown so much in the last 3 years. So, and I'm still finding people. Like I said, it was only a few weeks ago I found Cranky Yankee. Bloody disgrace. Right, here we go then. Final runs. Let's concentrate on this now. Pierre Gasly backing up quite nicely. And to that final turn, 14, 15 now. And onto the start-finish straight. That lovely little crest in the middle of it. They just appear. It's just crazy how they just appear. So at the minute in the drop zone, we have got Latifi, Magnussen, Russell, Raikkonen and Grosjean. Giovinazzi right on the bubble. Vettel only just above the bubble with Kvyat 13th and Ricciardo 12th. I think everybody has. Gasly down, is out on track. I would be surprised if Leclerc doesn't go again, and probably Perez as well. I think Hamilton, Verstappen and Bottas are safe. Ricciardo 8th has moved up a place, or a couple of places. In fact, by a couple, I mean 3. There you go. Yeah, Gasly 9/10 down, so he's not really finding any pace at all. And he's 9/10 on the best time, and he's not finding any green sectors out there at the moment. Stroll is improving, though. P10 at the moment, personal best first and second. Albon moves up to 6th place, 1:17.5. Gasly will have to go for another run. He can do a cool-down lap and go again if he wants to. Stroll stays 11th. Russell over the line goes P16. Good lap from George Russell. Not going to get through on that. He's also got time to go again. So 1:16 laps. So you can do a fairly slow lap around, then go again. But has he taken the best out of his tyres? That's a big question, isn't it? We don't really know around Portugal, around Portimao. Yeah, Chaz used to do race watch-alongs, didn't he? Actually, the first ones that I did, he was my co-commentator for them. Norris, here he goes. Is he? No, he's backed out of that one. Ocon goes 12th. We're coming to a minute and a half now. Wide there from Norris, but he's inside track limits, which have changed. It's now the red and white curb, not the white line, because the drivers complained, shockingly. What can Latifi do? Can he out-qualify George Russell? He's going to need to find 3.5 tenths of a second if he wants to do it. I'll tell you what, he's quicker than Grosjean in the first sector here, is Nicholas Latifi, but it's not a personal best, so he's been quicker than Grosjean before. Grosjean on the bubble here in P15. We're inside a minute to go. Good spot, safe plum. I've sorted it. Wink. Here we go then. I don't think Latifi's going to do it, but we'll keep an eye out. He's coming to the line. 10 seconds to go. Nobody seems to be massively improving at the moment, and Latifi stays 19th. Grosjean still the driver. Vettel only 14th, you know, but I can't see anybody. Magnussen, personal best. Russell's doing personal bests. Giovinazzi, I think, has snuck through into... Raikkonen goes into 15th. Giovinazzi 16th, Grosjean 17th. There's only Russell and Magnussen that can do anything about this now. Russell, personal best. Magnussen coming across the line. It's P19 for K-Mag, 118.5. Gasly moves up to 4th on a 117.2, so he's definitely got the pace out there. What can Vettel do? Goes up to 7th on a 117.4. George Russell is on a very good lap here. We're staying on board with him. We need to stay on board because this is a very good lap. He is right. He's just above. He could just sneak through here. He's slightly quicker than Kimi Raikkonen. We are talking next to nothing. There's nothing in this. George Russell pushing to the line. Can he get into Q2? Once again, it is George Russell into 15th place. George Russell through to Q2, 2 tenths in the end quicker than Kimi Raikkonen. We've lost Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Grosjean, Magnussen and Latifi. George Russell, the big story there, and Pierre Gasly as well up into 4th place. Superb from George. How is he getting that car around? Super lap from George. I was just listening to the reaction to it there. Absolutely fantastic. Whoa. A bit of a mad finish. Went a bit quiet midway through there. Let's have a look at what we've got. So, Lewis Hamilton, fastest in that first qualifying session. 1:16.828. Half a tenth clear of Max Verstappen in second place. 1:16.8 for him, obviously. Valtteri Bottas a 1:16.9, a tenth off in third. Pierre Gasly, 4th place, is a 1:17.2. Sergio Perez a 1:17.3 in fifth. Charles Leclerc, nearly 6 tenths off Hamilton's time, but not bad at all, in 6th place. Alexander Albon 7th. I'm going to be watching his times a lot this weekend because we need to know what Red Bull might do. But in Q1, which is all about getting out, of course, into Q2, about half a second off his teammate. 5.5 tenths off his teammate, actually. But come on, Alex. 8th place for Sebastian Vettel. 9th for Lando Norris. And 10th for Daniel Ricciardo. Carlos Sainz was 11th, but actually set the fastest first sector of that session towards the end. Lance Stroll in 12th place. It's Esteban Ocon in 13th, Daniel Kvyat in 14th, George Russell 15th, and Kimi Raikkonen 16th, 17th for Antonio Giovinazzi, 18th for Romain Grosjean, 19th for Kevin Magnussen, and 20th for Nicholas Latifi. So obviously, we've lost Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Grosjean, Magnussen, and Latifi. There you go. So yeah, I think the big stories from that first session were, I think, first of all, Pierre Gasly up there in 4th place. Secondly, Max Verstappen within half a tenth of Lewis Hamilton, but also seeing George Russell with his final lap there, sneaking out, or not even sneaking out, like I said, a couple of tenths quicker than Raikkonen in the end, into Q2. So the drivers, who we don't think are going to be on the grid next year, or who are fighting for a place on the grid next year, Sergio Perez 5th, and George Russell makes it through into Q2. There you go. There you go. No comment, Harry Brown. But you're right. That is exactly where Alex Albon should be. Albon should be where Gasly is. Harry just saying Gasly in the position Albon should be sitting in. Absolutely that. It's the same thing I've been saying for weeks now. He needs to be top 4. You know, he did all right last time out. He got 5th place in qualifying, and that was better, but it didn't really translate into anything in the race. But he should be P4. He should be P4, especially with Verstappen being so close to Mercedes. There's kind of no excuse. And I know the car is different, and we talk about this all the time, but I don't think it's that different to the point where it's that far off the pace, to be honest. And even if you take off the 2 tenths that I think Verstappen is probably worth, he's still getting off for half a second off. So, 4 tenths off. So, yeah, we'll see. He might. I mean, it's Q3 that matters, isn't it? Provided he gets there. So, he needs to be up there in 4th place. It's the job the second Red Bull needs to be doing. We're watching the full on board with George Russell around Portimao. So through turn 2 and into 3, just nicely. It just looks. I'd love to watch, and I'm going to try and see if I can have a look for this. I'm sure somebody's done it, but an onboard comparison of last year's Williams at somewhere like Monza versus this year's Williams. I bet this year's car looks so much more stable, because just off the top of my head, looking on board, he looks far more in control of that car than he was last year. He really, really does. So I'm going to enjoy this as a talk about George Russell's brilliant lap. But it's just watching these cars around this track. It's just so nice to see. And it's a modern track, or a modern-ish track. It's been built for modern F1 cars, but it's still got that old school track feel, and it's got all the undulation changes, and it just. I can't remember when Portimao was built. I think it was around 2006-ish or 2007, but it feels like when you look at the gravel traps and some of the changes of direction and the altitude changes, you'd be like, well, actually, feels like it's been there about 40 years, something like that. So very happy they're in Portimao this weekend. Very much looking forward to Imola. We'll see how good that is, but I fear Imola might be a bit... that definitely is not built for modern-day Formula 1 cars. We're getting ready for Q2. Better change all my banners and that, hadn't I? 15 minutes for this session, so hopefully I'll be able to get a timer sorted pretty swiftly. Yeah, Emily, I don't know the Raikkonen thing. I'm assuming it's a coding issue. I might mention it to Cranky Yankee, actually, when I inevitably talk to him at some point in the next few days, and just say I'm not quite sure what's going on with Raikkonen. It's Ryo Keonen. I assume it's just a coding issue, but yeah, we'll see. So we are green. Q2. 15 minutes, 15 cars. We lose 5 for a top 10 shootout if you're new to Formula 1. If you are, hello. Welcome. Can be brilliant, I promise. I'm joking. So 9 cars out straight away. 2 Mercedes, Gasly, Perez, Leclerc, Vettel, Norris, Stroll and Fiat. Tyres-wise, this is worth keeping an eye on, because Mercedes do have an extra set of mediums, new mediums. So they are going for it on the medium tyres. Leclerc and Vettel are gambling on the mediums. Yeah, that's brave for Ferrari. I suspect that they're going to go for that, and then we'll see probably with about 5 minutes to go, they'll stick a set of softs on and go again. I'd be surprised if Ferrari can get through on the mediums. Mercedes should be able to easily get through on the mediums. So, see how we go. And keep an eye on who else is going out on tyres. I think I would assume Verstappen will try. No, Verstappen's gone out on the soft tyre. So Verstappen's soft. So everybody's soft except for Vettel, Leclerc, and the two Mercedes. So two Ferraris and two Mercedes. So everybody but Ocon on track at the moment. Stroll obviously purple because he's first one going for a proper lap, although Perez might be. No, it is Stroll. Stroll's the first one to go for a lap. Perez is just behind, and then it's Gasly and Kvyat. But I think, actually, looking at the track map there, yeah, it's Racing Point AlphaTauri, Racing Point AlphaTauri. So, yeah. Apologies for the couple of names cut off the bottom. I'll have a resize before Imola, make sure it all fits again. But those names are Kevin Magnussen and Nicholas Latifi, I think. They are indeed. Somebody made the point, actually, on Red Bull a couple of days ago now, actually, on Twitter, that maybe Red Bull should get these Honda engines and rename them Wings. Red Bull Wings. I quite like that. But Stroll goes fastest, 176, just butting into a conversation in chat, by the way, just as I do, casually interrupting your conversations. Perez fastest on a 117.1, Kvyat third. Gasly goes up into second on a 117.367. He's looking pacey, isn't he? Bottas, I mean, Mercedes on the yellow mark tyres go fastest on a 116.4. Bottas 6/10 quicker than Perez. Hamilton coming to the line. He's going to go super quick as well. Is he going to be quickest? No, he's backed out of it as Hamilton. So 122.9. He was purple in the first sector. But on those medium tyres, Bottas did a 116.4. Wow, Perez 6/10 off. So comfortably through on those for Bottas. Wonder why Hamilton backed off. Something's happened. We'll keep an eye on that. Albon goes fourth on a 117.1. 117.4, sorry. Was it traffic for Hamilton? Verstappen goes third, 117.3. It was traffic for Hamilton by the look of it. I think Norris has just caught a racing point, and that might be trouble for whichever one that was. Norris was personal best first sector and second sector. I'm just waiting to see if it's compromised Norris. I still went personal best in the final sector. Might be all right. Might get away with that. At the moment, George Russell is 10th, but obviously Hamilton backed out of his lap. Sainz can do better than that, and the two Ferraris, even on the mediums, will do much better than that. Vettel goes 10th on a 118.1. He will have to go again on the soft tyres. What can Leclerc do? Leclerc goes 6th on a 17.3 on the medium tyres. Exactly the same time as Pierre Gasly, just separated by the fact that Gasly set his first. This is what happened to Hamilton. Coming up to the final couple of... he got caught behind a Ferrari, and that is Sebastian Vettel. And I think Vettel might get in a bit of bother for that. I don't know. He was sort of out of the way. He wasn't on the line, but we'll see what the stewards decide. Hamilton, slower than Bottas, but quicker than Kvyat, which you would hope. He's quicker than Kvyat in that car. It was definitely traffic. Vettel's got to go again. He went for the mediums, but he's not getting through on that. 11th at the moment. He'll have to go soft. I'm just wondering if Leclerc fancies trying to get through on those mediums. Maybe do what Mercedes will inevitably do. Go out on a set of softs and put in a couple of really quick sectors and then back off if he can get through. That would really set him up quite nicely for tomorrow, Charles. Personal best for Hamilton in the middle sector. He needs to get this lap in on these mediums. Doesn't want to end up where he was at the Nürburgring. Starting on the softs, of course. Was that the Nürburgring? Was that Russia? Russia, wasn't it? Yeah. Over the line he goes. This should see him through quite nicely. He goes second, 116.8. 4/10 of his teammate. But that should see him through. On board with Albon as he's really wrestling that car. Through turn 14. That's the word I was looking for. Crofty soaring at the steering wheel. He stays 8th, 9/10 off Bottas, and only a couple of tenths off P11 at the moment. So Albon will definitely need to go again. Max Verstappen coming to the line. Ocon goes 10th. There'll be Sainz before Verstappen. Sainz goes 4th. There is some pace in that McLaren. 1:17.1. Just ahead of his teammate. Verstappen goes 3rd on a 17 flat. Or 1:17.096, if you want to be specific. Yeah, at the moment, your bottom 5, Ocon, Stroll, Kvyat, Vettel and Russell. Ricciardo on the bubble, but I think we'll see everybody back out. Mercedes will go out on the softs and just put in a couple of good sectors and see what goes on, but I think they're safe. Verstappen is half a second off Ocon in 11th. Up in 3rd place. So's Perez. He might be all right, but I wouldn't be surprised. We're going to see everybody out again. Because I mean, everybody from, I would say, certainly Sainz down, possibly Perez down as well. And that could include Verstappen. Probably going to have to go again here. Verstappen complaining of no grip over team radio. Ocon a 10th, slower than his teammate in 11th. So still time to be found out there to sneak through. Yes, Albon on softs. I believe. Let me check, Ben. I'm sure he's on softs. Yes, he is. Soft tyres. Only ones that went on mediums were both Mercedes, both of the Mercedes, and both of the Ferraris. But that's not going to work. I think, how did Renault do at Mugello? Pace-wise, I'm just going to see if I've still got the press releases from that, because I'm trying to remember what they did at Mugello pace-wise, because this is sort of, it's not a similar layout or anything like that, but just the fact that it's quick corners and all of that, it's similar in that regard. I'm just wondering if they struggled at all in, I haven't got qualifying, that's annoying, for pace there. No, Ricciardo was 4th in practice, in the race, sorry. They weren't massively swift in practice. Let's have a look. I'm intrigued. That's got me thinking now. Somebody asked about Renault in chat. Let's see how they got on. It was, what was it down as? Tuscany, wasn't it? So qualifying. Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo was 8th and Esteban Ocon 10th. 1:16.543. So yeah, 1.4 off. So Renault weren't exactly quick in Tuscany. So I wonder if it's just the track not suiting them then. It's not suiting their cars. Like I say, it's not similar in terms of layout, but it's quick and it's quick corner after quick corner, and maybe just not suiting their car. And we know it's got some power, and there is only the one really long straight. So could be why. Here we go. So we've got Gasly out there, Albon, Ricciardo, Ocon, Stroll, and Kvyat on outlaps. Like I said, I think we'll see quite a few out there. Here we go. So we've got Charles Leclerc is coming out. Leclerc going on the mediums again. Is that right? Is my TV funky? No, they are the medium tyres. Ooh. Charles Leclerc, who is only 8th and is much closer to the drop zone than the fastest times. And Sebastian Vettel going on the mediums as well. That seems crazy to me. That seems absolutely crazy to me. So, I can sort of understand it for Leclerc in a way because he's in the top 10, but even then he's not safe. But Vettel in 14th? I like that. Brave or stupid. I guess time will tell, Twisted Vision, won't it, very much? Please do drop a like on the stream. Once again, that would be massively appreciated. And thank you very much. I won't read your surname because I know not everybody likes me doing that. But thank you to Daniel for your contribution via PayPal. Massively appreciate that one, mate. Thank you as well. I think I read Charlotte's comment earlier, but thank you to Charlotte for the contribution as well on top of that. So thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Go into the kitty for the winter. A few things I want to sort out for the channel, including the mic. I'm still trying to sort a microphone out. I foolishly, if you remember back to testing, we got those donations in. I was like, I'm going to buy a mic and I'm going to get a Go XLR and I'm going to really try and up my audio because that's priority for me. And I was like, oh, wait till the spring, wait till Easter for some sales. That was bloody stupid. Nothing's in stock anymore because the world went to hell. So I'm kind of still waiting for everything to come back in stock or at least at a reasonable price. So that money's been put away safely to be able to be used over the winter, hopefully. But yeah, that's the plan. So thank you for that. Appreciate that, both of you. Here we go then. Fiat is going to come across the line, stays 13th. He has got time for another run if he fancies it. Albon 9th, stays 9th, does not improve. He will have to try and go for a run again. Ricardo doesn't improve either. I did miss Prime Day. Oh, yeah. There's Ocon. Nobody's improving, so I wonder if they're just warming the tyres up on his first run. And then or warming everything up on his first run, then going for it on a second run. George Russell's out there on the softs as well. I'm really intrigued by Ferrari's strategy here. Again, I kind of get it with Leclerc because he's safer than Vettel, but Vettel's in 14th. So, minute and 25 to go. Ocon's on a lap. He's not improving in the first sector. Verstappen and Perez both... Verstappen improving. Ricardo not finding much pace out there either. So at the moment, the Russell improving, 1:22.4. Norris now improving. So a few starting to get some green times on the timing screens, but really, nobody really doing much out there. Leclerc, not bad, 22.4. Russell not a million miles off Verstappen's first sector either there. I'm going to keep an eye on George. I don't expect to see him into Q3. That would be incredible. A little toe there, nicely for Esteban Ocon, but he does nothing for him. He stays 11th. He can't really go again, can he? 30 seconds to go. He can try, but he's used all his battery. Here goes Max Verstappen, 16.4 for Bottas. It's a 17.0 for Verstappen, stays third. He is comfortably through. George Russell on a good lap, improving. Could he out-qualify a Fiat or a Vettel here? Good opportunity. What is Seb doing out there? He's not quicker in the first sector. I think Seb's in trouble here. He is better in the middle sector, and George Russell goes 14th, 117.7. So 0.3 off Ricardo in 10th place. Not bad at all. The Vettel improving in the middle. So Leclerc, personal best first, personal best second. Stays 8th, though. Doesn't improve in the final sector. Here comes Vettel, though. What can he do? He needs this. The checkered flag's out. One opportunity. And Sebastian Vettel stays P15 on a 117.9. Why did they go? Oh, and Ricardo's off and in the wall. Not a big impact. He's spun off somewhere. He can get... Yes, he has got going again, but he spun and just tapped the barrier with his rear wing. But that's the end of his chances of getting through. Stays 10th, but I think he's all right anyway, because anybody coming through there has had their lap ruined. Ocon isn't going to get through. Russell isn't going to get through, so that's it. So we've lost Ocon, Stroll, Fiat, Russell, and Vettel. Seb Vettel. Why the mediums? Just watching Ricardo. Oh, he's just got away from him on the outside of the corner, and he just tags the wall. I would assume all should be okay. I'm going to watch it. Yeah, probably a few repairs needed, but nothing major, I wouldn't have thought. We'll see what Renault decide to do. Yeah, what are Ferrari doing? Vettel says couldn't get the fronts warming up, better on the first run, but weren't ready on the second run. So George Russell has out-qualified Sebastian Vettel. But Leclerc's got through. So, I mean, it worked for Leclerc. I said that wasn't really the risk, was it? It was a gamble in some ways, but it wasn't really the risk. Vettel was the risk. They went for the mediums. I'll just check Pirelli over on the old Twitter sphere and see if perhaps it was an allocation issue. Maybe they were running out of soft tyres. I can't imagine they were. They got 7 sets each. The allocations changed for this weekend. Same for Turkey. 7 of the soft, 3 of the medium, 3 of the hard, as opposed to 8, 3 and 2. So no allocation. Actually, haven't got an allocation listed at the moment. That's annoying. And they haven't got it on their thingy either. We'll get that before the race. But I wonder if that might be one of the reasons. But that is just really weird. An odd decision. If your driver's down in 14th, you send them on the soft, surely to have a go at getting through. That's easy for me to say sat here, isn't it? Yeah, I haven't got to make that decision on the pit wall. But I think I would have gone with Vettel on softs. Stroll is out. That's a bit of a surprise, actually. Perez up in 4th place. But nothing between us. So let's run through these times super quickly then. So Valtteri Bottas fastest in Q2, 1:16.4, 1:16.8 for Hamilton in 2nd place. Max Verstappen in 3rd, 1:17.0. So half a second now, nearly 6/10 between the top 3. Sergio Perez in 4th, Carlos Sainz 5th, Lando Norris in 6th place, Pierre Gasly 7th, Charles Leclerc in 8th. They've got the same time actually, 1:17.367. Alex Albon in 9th, a 1:17.4, and Daniel Ricciardo 10th on a 1:17.481. So a second covers the top 10, which isn't too bad actually. But Mercedes definitely looking more comfortable than they did in Q1 and in practice. So they can't turn their engines down and turn them up and all that business. But I do wonder if they just weren't giving it everything. But just watching the incident with Hamilton and Vettel there, I'm not sold on that being any kind of penalty for Vettel, to be honest. He's on the outside, he's out of the way, so yeah, I don't know. I think we're going to see here, and Anthony Davidson just going for it on a Sky Pad now. I'll go through the rest in a moment, but Vettel making mistakes on his lap, and he's kind of got caught a long way behind Hamilton, but he let him go. It's just a scruffy lap from Seb on those tyres. But if they're not warm, he's not going to be able to do anything with them. So, yeah. Anyway, 11th place, Esteban Ocon, a 10th off his teammate, who was 10th. Lance Stroll in 12th place. Daniel Kvyat 13th. George Russell, a fantastic 14th place ahead of Sebastian Vettel in 15th. And we'd already lost Kimi Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi, Romain Grosjean, Kevin Magnussen, and Nicholas Latifi. So, actually, George Russell was 3/10 off Q3. Seb Vettel was 4/10 off. Stroll was only 10th off as well. So that is a mega effort from George Russell, I must say. Refreshing, ready. And we'll get the banners and all that sorted for Q3. Minutes for this final session. If you are just tuning in and wondering why the hell I'm still live, there was a 30-minute delay to qualifying a little bit earlier because a drain cover had come loose during FP3 and they were basically sticking everything back down again and checking the rest of them. So we had a 30-minute delay. Incident involving cars 10, Pierre Gasly and Sergio Perez will be investigated after the session. Daniel Ricciardo, we're going to see on board again with the spin, I think. Comes through, passes one car, and then his teammate's on the inside, but he's just, dirty track. Back end gets away, that's kind of it, yeah. Lewis Hamilton behind Ocon. Oh, so we're watching Ricciardo. So it was Hamilton getting out of the way. Ocon was on the inside, and Ricciardo's just kind of let it, yeah. Oh, dear. Keep an eye. I mean, Ricciardo's still in the car, but he tagged the wall, but he didn't wallop it. It was just a tag, but take much to break it. Vettel back in the paddock. Probably not happy with that. So I bet he can't wait to get out of the car, can he? Doesn't look impressed. But I just don't think he can. Was it? I think it was Martin Brundle. It was either the last race or the race before. He said that for Vettel, it's probably a saving grace that the season is as short as it is. The sooner he gets out of that car, the better. They are doing some repairs on the Renault. Don't know if they'll change it. Paul di Resta speculating they might, but how long does it take to change a rear wing? A few minutes, isn't it? So a bit tight. He'll only do one proper run anyway, because he usually goes out on the used first. Who's your pole prediction then? Who have we got? I'm sticking with Bottas. He's looking handy as Valtteri. I'm feeling confident. Going into Q2. Getting windy though out there. Here we go. I'll go through. Are we green? Cars are leaving the garages. They are working on that car, so they're not confident on that Renault. We are green indeed. I'll wait till the cars are on track and I'll sort of look at what tyres everyone's on. I assume the likes of Sainz, Norris, Gasly, Albon and Ricciardo will go on some used tyres, and then or Ricciardo might not go for a first run because it's sort of pointless, and then everybody else then will go again on new tyres later. But yeah. So Bottas, Hamilton, Verstappen, Perez and Leclerc all out on track. What can Verstappen do? Indeed, Crofty, talking there about it. Albon goes out in 6th place. Can he upset the Mercs today, get in between them, spice that race up tomorrow for us? I think championship-wise it's done at the top, but the battle between Verstappen and Bottas is going to be really interesting and I think quite close. But from a confidence point of view, I think Bottas needs the win this weekend. I think I said that in the preview. I don't think somebody said, "Oh, it's only going to take a DNF for Hamilton." It's going to need more. It's going to need 2 DNFs and Bottas winning and getting the fastest lap at both of them, and then winning pretty much every race between now and the end of the season for it to happen. So I can't see it. You never know, I guess, is the way to throw that in there for Formula One. But for his confidence, a win this weekend, especially after the sort of missing out in the Nürburgring, the car issues as well. Yeah, we'll see. 69 point championship lead, so Bottas obviously purple. So everyone on track except Gasly and Ricciardo. Obviously plenty of tyres then, because Sainz and Norris apparently on new tyres according to the official timing. I'm not sure on that. He's quicker than Hamilton at the moment, is Bottas. 51.8 in the middle sector, 29.2 really. Hamilton, couple of... No, he's quicker. Hamilton goes purple. I read that wrong. Perez, not bad either. 23.9 for Perez. 28.3 for Verstappen, a second off. Not a second off at all. 6 seconds off the pace. So he's obviously doing 2 runs. Here comes Hamilton. Bottas fastest, 1:16.9. The 1:17.0 for Hamilton. There is 4/100ths of a second between the two Mercs. This is game on for pole. Verstappen with really slow sectors. I assume he's just backed out of it. Verstappen's had an awful lap and he's just about out of the way of his teammate there. Albon on the mediums. Maybe just going out for a confidence lap and get one on the board and then put the softs on later. This is a pricey Albon on the mediums. Now, over the line he goes. It's a 1:17.8. That's actually horrendous for the mediums, actually, if you look at the delta between the two of them. Norris and Sainz and Leclerc about to complete their laps. It'll be Norris first. He goes across the line 22.0. So I think these are just sort of banker laps to start with, and then they'll go for him in a minute. Warm-up lap. You got time for that in Q3 to do a warm-up lap, a flight. So you got an out lap, a warm-up lap, a flying lap, an in lap, and then do that again. I don't think you have you really? But the official app definitely saying they're all on new tyres, so weird. Verstappen purple in the first sector, not great in the middle sector. 29.6. See what we can do. Here comes Leclerc then, who is still wringing the neck of that Ferrari. P7 moves up to P3 on a 1:17.4. 4 tenths off Lewis Hamilton in second place, and really only 5 tenths off pole. Perez up to fourth, 1:17.4. Here goes Verstappen. He is improving. Over the line, it's a 1:17.1, so he is in the fight for pole position. That is a 10th off. Well, it's a 10th off pole. So Verstappen is in this. He really is in this. I feel like I said that last time, and then we got really disappointed in the final laps when he was well off the pace. I assume Albon just doesn't. It's just an allocation thing with Albon. Their Sainz 1:17.520 into 6th place. So Gasly and Ricciardo still in the pits. I wonder if Danny Rick's going to get out. Gasly going to do the old F2 trick and go in the gap. Have some water before we get to the final runs. Albon is still on the mediums. Going for a second run. It takes a couple of laps to get these mediums going, so certainly, yeah. 4 tenths off the fastest time in the middle sector. I assume he's just going to do a couple of laps and then come in and put the softs on and go for an absolute banzai final attempt. Still not sure, Astro. He's sat in the pits at the moment, having his rear wing sorted. Is Ricciardo, so Albon 7th. On the mediums, though. He's 4 tenths off his teammate on the mediums. I can't remember the delta. Delta between the two tyres. Where is it? I had it a second ago. Go with those. So, delta between medium and soft is 6 tenths of a second. And it doesn't matter anyway, because it's, yeah, Albon's over track limits, so that'll be deleted. That time is irrelevant. Waiting for that to adjust. 5 minutes to go in Q3 then. Off we go. Hamilton on the mediums. And they are replacing the rear wing on Ricciardo's car. Got 4.5 minutes to go. Gasly's out there. So Hamilton's gone on the mediums then. Are they the tyre for Q3? Are they just thinking, get out and do some laps and get them up to temperature and they should be better than the softs? Interesting. Gasly's on track. Ricciardo is still in the pits having his rear wing changed now. We'll keep an eye on that. There's only 4 minutes to go. Only needs, I mean, it's 1:16.9 is the fastest time, so probably want about a 1:20 to be comfortably over the line. So plenty of time to get out. Blast Spates or BLA Spates or whatever your name is, mate, says let's get some more likes, breaking 400 soon. Yeah, get some likes in, see what we can do. I don't really keep an eye on records for likes if there's a stream record, but There you go. Yeah, please do drop a like. We're coming on to the final runs now. We're up to 3 minutes to go. I think this is 3-horse race for pole. But I'm surprised to see Hamilton on medium. So I'm just wondering if it is just get out there, warn them up. Somebody said something on the mediums actually in chat a second ago. AC, the first says not shocked, since mediums were 0.5 faster in Q2. So maybe it is. But Gasly, obviously personal bests because he hasn't done a lap time yet in Q3. He is on the soft tyres. I assume he's going to go for 2 runs. I'm just listening to Martin Brundle talking about the medium tyre, and they're obviously, Mercedes have a reason to send him out, don't they? And obviously if that's right about practice, then it's the right tyre to go on. There goes Gasly, a second off the pace, stays 9th, but he'll probably go for another run now. We cool things off, get the tyres up to temperature, and it's purple in the middle sector for Hamilton. Bottas on the mediums as well. Hamilton's first sector wasn't spectacular. His second sector is purple, but of course he'll probably go for another run after this. Well, I'll say that, 1:50 to go. Charging everything up, he might... I should be able to. Got 1:45 to get round. He goes pole position at the moment, 1:16.9. What's Bottas doing out there? We'll see. Verstappen 24.6. Is he out there on the mediums as well? No, he's on the softs. I wonder if mediums are the tyres. That'd be a surprise. Wouldn't that be a nice little twist to qualifying at the end? What was exciting about qualifying today? Oh, somebody went on the mediums. It was quite the moment. We were quite shocked. Except for whoever that was in chat, who was not surprised. So here comes Bottas. So it's 22.2 in the first sector for Bottas. Better than Hamilton's first sector. 0.2 better. It's the middle sector that Hamilton was purple. Ricciardo is out of the car. He's not going to be going out. He's run out of time anyway. Couldn't get that fixed. I'm surprised they didn't just go straight into pits and start changing it rather than whatever they were doing. Oh, very wide out there. Kicking up some dust was Valtteri Bottas. Might have cost him a little bit of time. 51.8 in the middle for Lewis Hamilton. I assume he's going to go again, Hamilton. 2.5 tenths up Bottas. This is a fantastic lap so far. Just waiting for... I'm just wondering if Hamilton's going to go again. He's crossed the line. And it's Bottas. He's going pole. He's going to do it. It is a 1:16.7. 2 tenths nearly quicker than his teammate. I'm just watching to see if Hamilton does go again. Verstappen's going for another one. Hamilton is going for another one. He's very marginally slower. 4/100 slower than Bottas in that first sector. So Bottas won't get to go again. This is all about to get very interesting. Lewis Hamilton then. What can he do in that middle sector? So 4/100 slower in the first sector. Albon really wrestling that car. He's down in 8th at the moment. What can Verstappen? He's out there as well. 29.5. Hamilton goes purple in the middle sector. Albon goes 4th. That's what you need to be doing, Alex. P4 for Alex Albon. Much better. 3 tenths off his teammate. 6th off pole. Or 6th off pole. Verstappen goes 2nd on a 16.9. But Lewis Hamilton's who we need to be looking at. Leclerc goes 4th. And Perez goes 5th. Albon's down to 6th. I'll shut him next time. I jinxed him. Sorry. What is Lewis Hamilton going to do? He's purple in the middle sector. He's over the line. Lewis Hamilton takes pole position with a 1:16.652 on his final run, well after the checkered flag had fallen. Lewis Hamilton on pole once again. All weekend... I said it when we were talking pre-qualifying. All weekend, Bottas has had Lewis Hamilton covered. Literally the final lap of qualifying, and Hamilton takes pole by 1/10 of a second. So it was that second run. So the second run on the mediums was the way to go. Would Bottas, if he got that second run in, have done the same? Wow. What a moment. So Lewis Hamilton, I'll go through it all properly in a bit. Lewis Hamilton on pole position, 97th pole position. Second for Valtteri Bottas. Third for Max Verstappen. It was Charles Leclerc in fourth in the end. Superb for Ferrari. Fifth was Sergio Perez. Sixth was Alex Albon. I got very excited for Albon at one point because he was fourth and it looked like he might get that, but no. Sixth place and half a second slower than Verstappen. That'll be what Helmut Marko is looking at. Carlos Sainz in 7th place, Lando Norris 8th and Pierre Gasly 9th. Then we've got Ricciardo, Ocon, Stroll, Kvyat, Russell, Vettel, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Grosjean, Magnussen and Latifi. There you go. I'm sure that's 97 for Lewis Hamilton now. That from Charles Leclerc. We'll talk about driver of the day or driver of qualifying shortly. It was his 97th pole. Oh, I thought Bottas had that. I was feeling confident coming into this, wasn't I? I said it. There you go. What have we got? So we've got Imola, Turkey, 2 at Bahrain and 1 at Abu Dhabi. So we've got 5 more qualifying sessions to go. Hamilton needs 3 to get the century of pole positions. So it's not nailed on because Bottas seems to have some very good qualifying pace. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him hit the 100 this year for pole positions. Unbelievable, really. Quite astonishing. I know we've got a lot more races now, so more pole positions are up for grabs, but still, that's a phenomenal number when you think about it, isn't it? But yeah, Bottas second and Verstappen third. Tyres for tomorrow. Verstappen starts on the softs in third, and both the Mercs are on the mediums for the race. So, and it turns out, I've forgotten your name, and I'm so sorry, because you were absolutely spot on. The mediums were the tyre to be on. I'm going to scroll back and find your name if I can very, very quickly. I can't find. You know who you are. I read your comment out. Oh, there it is. AC the first. Yes, you were spot on with that one. We'll listen to a little bit of initial reaction, then we'll talk a little bit about tomorrow very quickly. We're live for an extra half an hour anyway, aren't we? With everything that happened to start with the delay to the session, some brief reaction to that, and we'll go through the order properly for anyone tuning in a little bit later. People angry that Hamilton just put in a hell of a lap. I'll never get it. This thing is, I don't support drivers, so I'm not really bothered. I could appreciate that lap. It was superb. But obviously, it obviously was a second run. I did wonder when he went out a little bit earlier. I thought, is he going for 2 runs because he can get some temperature in the tyres and get them in the window properly? You can't see Bottas's mouth, obviously, because he's got his mask on, but his eyes don't look overly impressed. But then just trying to think, I can't ever remember Bottas looking. I think there's a great picture of him on the podium. I think it is in Russia when he's won, and he's just wide-eyed and roaring. It's about as passionate as I've ever seen him get. He's ace. I like how chill he is. Okay, so Bottas saying it was his decision to go for 1 lap. Because it had worked from in Q2, so that wasn't a team thing or anything like that. Before that gets popped out in the media later, Bottas just saying he made that decision. So obviously Hamilton felt better with 2 laps. Bottas felt like he could do it on 1. So there you go. I get the feeling though, if Bottas had gone for a second run, maybe he might have had a chance to take that back, or he would have had a chance, but he might have taken that back. But yeah, there you go. Albon, people asking for Albon, 6th place, 7/10 off the fastest time, half a second off Max Verstappen. Yeah, Red Bull needing 4th tomorrow at the worst. He's got 2 races. If you believe Christian Horner, and by the way, I say if you believe Christian Horner and you believe Helmut Marko, he has 2 races to prove himself. But this is also Helmut Marko that said not 2 weeks ago that they have no plans to replace Albon and they're looking to keep him in the car next year. So there you go. Can you believe him? Who knows? Thank you very much, Safe Plum, for popping along. Have a good afternoon. I'm going to do a little bit of reaction, get something to eat, and then watch the football tonight. Watch Man United get totally mullered by Chelsea. It's probably the way that's going to go. Verstappen looking to stay close to them tomorrow, which you would expect. So we'll do the... I'll have a slug of water. Just slugging my water there and watching you lot have some weird conversations. You just fit in perfectly here. Weird conversations. That is qualifying done then for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton, 97th pole position, a 1:16.652, taking it on that final lap on the medium tyre. Second run on the medium tyre, so that worked out very, very nicely for him. Valtteri Bottas in second place. Looked to have Hamilton covered all weekend. Unfortunately, from his point of view, Hamilton just did it on that final run, a 10th quicker than his teammate. Max Verstappen in third place. He starts on the soft tyres. Mercedes will both be on the mediums for tomorrow. 2.5 tenths for Max Verstappen off of Bottas's time. Charles Leclerc, again, brilliant, ringing the neck of that Ferrari into fourth place on a 1:17.0. Sergio Perez, 1:17.2 in fifth place. Alexander Albon under massive pressure this weekend and at Imola. I'd be inclined to say, again, he's been under pressure for a while, I think. Sixth place, 1:17.4, 7 tenths off the fastest time. And half a second, as I say, off his teammate. Carlos Sainz in seventh, leading the McLarens. Only just, though. I didn't notice that one. 5 thousandths of a second between Sainz in seventh and Norris in eighth place. So that's a fun battle. Looking forward to that tomorrow. Pierre Gasly in ninth place. He was 1.1 off the pace, 1:17.8. And Daniel Ricciardo did get through to Q3, but had a spin in Q2, clipped the wall and damaged his rear wing. The team tried to change it, but couldn't get him out. But he's still P10. He probably, based on the pace we'd seen in qualifying to that point, probably would have been around 8th, 9th, 10th place anyway. So at least that way he can start on some tyres tomorrow and go for it, I suppose. I mean, he has to start on his Q2 tyres, but yeah, shut up, Sean. 11th place for Esteban Ocon, first of those who get the free choice of tyre, 1:17.6, just ahead of Lance Stroll. Apologies for punching the mic there. 12th place for Lance Stroll, disappointed for him. Teammate 5th, he's down in 12th. Daniel Kvyat 13th. George Russell once again through to Q2 in 14th place, and out qualifying Sebastian Vettel, who was 15th, and for some reason was on the medium tyres. We were questioning that at the time. Charles Leclerc did get through to Q2 on the mediums, and as we saw in Q3, the medium tyre was the right tyre to be on, so that is why Ferrari sent Vettel out, but it seemed a real risk at the time, didn't it? And it didn't work out anyway, because he was down in 15th place. Kimi Raikkonen didn't make it out of Q1, he's 16th. Antonio Giovinazzi in 17th place, about a tenth of a second between them. Romain Grosjean 18th, Kevin Magnussen 19th, and Nicholas Latifi in 20th. Like I say, start tyre-wise, Hamilton, Bottas, Leclerc all on the mediums. Verstappen, Perez, Albon, Sainz, Norris, Gasly and Ricciardo on the softs. Obviously, everybody else can pick whatever tyre they want, but that's a very interesting point. Charles Leclerc there in fourth place. I know he tends to qualify well and go backwards in the race because that Ferrari is not very got much pace, but it is just worth noting on those medium tyres, he's going to go very long into that race. And if that is the better tyre, he's sitting quite pretty there for some seriously good points. And maybe if something happens between the two Mercs, or there's, Bottas retired with reliability issues in the Nürburgring, if that happens to one of them or to Verstappen or anybody like that, Leclerc might get another cheeky podium this year. So he's got himself in a good position there, Charles. I think lap of the day was probably Lewis Hamilton taking that on that final run on the mediums, but I think driver of the day for me would be Charles Leclerc, just because that Ferrari on pace should not be there. He's absolutely going for it, isn't he? Absolutely going for it in that Ferrari. And if they give him a car that's anywhere near the pace of Red Bull and Mercedes, he'd be right in that mix with Hamilton, Verstappen and Bottas. So yeah, great performance from Charles Leclerc. But I think also a big nod for Pierre Gasly again, but only because through the whole session he seemed to have some very good pace. But let me know in chat, who was your driver of the day for qualifying? Driver of the day is for the race. What we should call it for your performer of the day? Your performer of the day. It's one word difference. Performer of the day. from qualifying. I'm going to go with Charles Leclerc again. I felt like about 3 weekends in a row that I've gone for Charles Leclerc. But yeah, great lap from him. Very interesting with strategy tomorrow as well. I think that's going to be fascinating. That medium tyre looks to be the tyre to be on. We've had this conversation a couple of times sort of while we've been live. So that looks like the better tyre. So I think Mercedes are looking pretty. Charles Leclerc sitting kind of pretty, and anybody from 11th down that starts on that tyre, I would assume most will. Yeah, I think they're looking good. They're looking very, very good. We'll do driver of the day, then I'll just talk a little bit about tomorrow, make some more predictions as well. Astro's gone with Hamilton for driver of the day. Granny Annie's gone with Hamilton. Sympathy vote for Vettel, says Bruce. Bernardo's gone with Leclerc is doing what Alonso did in a McLaren Honda. He's really impressing me, Leclerc, is this year. It was good last year, but he had the car to do that last year, whereas this year he hasn't got the car, and he's not picking up the wins and poles, but he's still driving the wheels off it, so credit where credit's due. Warren M, good shout for Russell there. That's a very good point. 14th and out-qualified Sergio Perez. Squidgy Pixel, it's a mouthful. Perez in 5th place, driver of the day. Good shout as well. Ben's gone with George to Hamilton for fun. That'll just reset for some reason on the chat. Hammy, a no-brainer, says Jeremy Fine. Leclerc is very impressive compared to his teammate, says Path. I think Vettel he's staying professional, but I think he's checked out a little bit of Ferrari. I think he's realised he's not going to get anywhere this season, so do what he can, and that's it. Perez next year should be in a Red Bull Ferrari for a win. We're moving away from that one now, aren't we? So Leclerc for Sujith. There you go. A few little drivers of the day there. I think Leclerc deserves that one, but really, it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic works at the front. I think Bottas needs to go aggressive into turn 1. I keep saying that. I think he needs to win for his confidence, not for the championship, just for him. Bounce back from the Nürburgring. If we get a good start into turn 1, should be interesting. But Verstappen's on those softs, and if they grip up really quickly, like they tend to, I'm going to say that because we don't know with Portugal and Portimao, if they grip up like we expect them to off the line, then maybe it can be a threat on the run down to turn 1. So it's going to be a really nice battle down there. But I'm intrigued by what Leclerc's going to do in that mix. I really, really am. And I'm looking forward to this race anyway. I said it a few weeks back. Mugello, Portimao, Nürburgring, Imola, even the outer loop at Sakir, Bahrain. I'm really, really looking forward to those tracks because they're something a little bit different. And it's nice to come into these weekends not knowing who's going to be where. And definitely Red Bull seem closer again this weekend to Mercedes in terms of pace. So I'm quite confident that Red Bull will be able to take the fight to them tomorrow. But then I was quite confident Bottas was going to get pole. There you go. There you go. Yeah. So watch the laps now. Nothing between them. They're just showing them on the Sky Pad. So Suji says, Bottas and Leclerc starting on the dirty side. Will that make a difference? Good question. Thank you for your contribution, mate. Yeah, well, there was some of the talk yesterday during practice when they're doing practice starts about drivers. Crofty and Paul di Resta arguing about race directors' notes and how they were supposed to line up in certain grid slots. I'm not getting to that. But there was concern over that dirty side of the grid because nobody's been over there, have they, at all this weekend? And there's been no other running at this track. This surface, unless I've missed something, I think these Formula One cars are the first cars to run on this new surface. So it's going to be filthy offline. And as we saw with Ricciardo, he got offline through that corner and that was it. It was in the wall. So it probably will. It probably will. And it's a good point I hadn't really thought of. So you've got Bottas and Leclerc on the dirty side. So that could give Verstappen, especially with those tyres with that instant grip that the soft should give, that could give Verstappen a great chance of splitting the Mercs by turn 1. Leclerc, I mean, on Leclerc, bless him, I think he's going to go backwards anyway. I think Perez will get him quickly. I think Albon will be in that fight with him, probably get him as well. But yeah, there you go. That's my take. I think that gives Verstappen a shot to turn 1. But yeah. I'm sorry, if I go quiet, I'm just reading a conversation in the chat, which is nothing to do with qualifying. Arguing about Senna and Schumacher, or debating Senna and Schumacher for some reason, but I'll have a read of that after the stream. In fact, Astro, I was thinking that, mate. Astro said Senna could have won in 94, seeing as Damon Hill. I've always said that. If Damon Hill nearly won the title in 94, Senna would have done. That's it. I don't care what the points were when Imola came along. If Hill almost did, Senna would have done so. And I'm a Michael Schumacher fanboy saying that, so there you go. We'll not get into that today, though. Predictions for tomorrow. What do we reckon then before I disappear? I'm going to have to go. Let me know your top 3 in chat. I'm going to have a ponder while I'm kind of running over a couple of other things, but I said on Wednesday, Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, because I'm just thrilling like that. I love to take a chance. I'm going to give Verstappen, I'm going to go crazy and just say Verstappen is going to nick the win tomorrow. Just. Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas. Yeah. I regret that already. I regret it already. I don't know why. Those soft tyres, the point that Sujit made there about the dirty side of the track for Bottas, I think Verstappen could really take the fight tomorrow. Generally pretty good on race pace as well versus quali pace, although with the engine modes it's not as big a gap as it was not so long ago. Yeah. Dara says I'm talking rubbish. In general, because if so, you're obviously new to the channel, I always talk rubbish. On the Senna Schumacher or 1994 thing, I don't believe I am. Damon Hill is nowhere near in the conversation when it comes to one of the all-time greats, and I like Damon Hill. There you go. But if Hill can get that close to a title, Senna would have done it. There you go. But if it's in general, I always talk crap, so it's fine. I've been doing it 3 years and I've not talked any sense once. So there you go. What do you guys say? Yeah, I think Verstappen. Why not? Why not? It's that, or just sit here and go Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen. Try and make it interesting tomorrow so you can all give me a load of grief in the race reaction. Got Stuart Chamber with me tomorrow for the race reaction. Got a nice little intro for him as well. If you saw his video with his the sellout with Raid Shadow Legends, you might be able to predict what's coming. But yeah, that was good fun. Is that Checo? It is indeed, having an interview with Sky. So let's do this quickly and then I'm going to wrap it up for the day because we've been live a little bit longer, obviously. Hamilton for the win, says fire up. Hamilton is the great, says Wolf. Fun says Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas for David. Scroll down a bit further, see if anyone said anything a bit different. Fire up says Hamilton, Norris, Russell. I possibly just said that. Swed says Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas. Stroll and Vettel won't be pretty, is a prediction from Bruce for next season. Sneak that one in for you, Bruce. It's going to be fun to watch it. That's a dynamic I can't wait for. Path says Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen as always. Hamilton, Bottas, Leclerc for Henry. Grisha's gone with Hamilton, Bottas and Verstappen. Nerfa says I watched F1 since 81. I watched the races. I didn't read about them or believed what the media tried to sell. I assume that's a different... I've been watching since 92. Never listened to the media. Never listened... The BBC used to tell us that Schumacher was evil, basically, and he was not. So, no, I don't believe... I witnessed a lot of it. Lewis, Max, Perez for Warren. Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen for fun. I think possibly said that one as well. Kat says Hamilton, Verstappen and Perez. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas for Ben. Jack's gone with the same. A lot of people going with that one. It's a safe one. It's a good one as well. Hamilton, Verstappen and Sainz for Jordan. M2 podcast says Max will struggle tomorrow because he will be on the soft. I think as the race goes on, I agree, but I think off the line he might be, especially again with him being on the dirty side of the track. Bottas on the dirty side of the track. He's got a chance of getting in the mix, but well, why not? I'll go for it. It's worth the risk. Leclerc, Max, Perez says Flying Tiger. Wouldn't mind seeing that race. Hamilton, Bottas, Perez for Darius. It'd be nice to see Checo get a podium, wouldn't it, before the end of the year. Warren says confirmed by Sean Max will have engine problems tomorrow. I've totally ruined that one. Darius says the comment wasn't for me. It's all right. I wasn't sure. There's about 6 conversations going on, but no worries, mate. Just checking. But I do talk crap, and I know that, so it's fine. I said it on Twitter yesterday. I've never claimed to be an expert. I'm not an expert. I'm just a gobby fan. That's all I am, and I just want to talk about F1. So never take anything I say seriously, and never take anything I say as gospel, because it bloody isn't. I don't believe it half the time. Crazy prediction, Norris, Gasly, Perez in that order on the podium. Lol, this is stupid, not crazy, says Path. It's definitely crazy. But would be an epic race. So there you go. And I think we'll leave it there for predictions because I think some of these are repeats. Arnav says Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen. Hamilton, Bottas, Perez for Kingen. And one more. Have we got anybody else saying one? Russell, Hulkenberg, Van Dorn for Arnav. If you put Van Dorn where Russell is, I'm with you on that one. Poor old stuff. That was one thing I did want to mention super quickly. George Russell, some talk that maybe... It's not an official rumour. Nobody's come out and said it in the media, but people sort of chatting on Twitter, and I kind of listen to it sometimes or read it sometimes, that maybe Mercedes, if Russell loses his seat at Williams, might look to move him over to Formula E with the works team there, give him a season over there. I don't think they will. But I'm massively biased, and if it means losing stuff, I'm just going to sit and cry and eat ice cream all day because I'll be devastated. But no, I mean, it's a possibility, isn't it? They're a works team. They've got a works team over there. If they want him racing somewhere, then maybe that's not a bad idea. But to be honest, if he loses his seat, I'd still worry for him his F1 future. But a year behind the scenes as reserve driver at Mercedes isn't going to completely destroy him. He can really get into the team, get to know the team properly, see how they all work before hopping in that car for 22 maybe. So we'll see. But I don't want to get back into speculation properly. We did that the other day, but we can't lose stuff. I know Russell needs to keep racing, but I can't lose stuff. The only reason I watch Formula E, it's not. It's because it's just I love it. But yeah. I just paused for a second because I was about to read something out and it was another conversation. I've tried to pick through the conversation. I'll take a couple more questions and then we'll wrap it up because you guys are chatting away and I don't want to just be sat here reading out your comments and trying to work out if you're having a go at me or if you're having a go at somebody else. That's my concern. That a year out would be a similar situation to Ocon. I wouldn't mind seeing Hulkenberg in Formula E, to be honest, says CPB1. Yeah, I feel like if Hulkenberg was on Formula E teams' radars, he would have been in last year, though. I would say. Yeah, Frankie says over 500 likes. I'll just say it one more time. Please do drop a like before you disappear. Any questions for tomorrow's race? I will answer a couple of questions on tomorrow's race. We did like nearly a full hour of speculation earlier, so I don't want to do that again before I go. So any questions about tomorrow's race? And I'll try and answer them, a couple of those. But yeah, please do drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new as well. I will be back tomorrow with the race reaction. Like I say, I've got Stuart, a.k.a. Chamber, with me. Probably live around 4 p.m. UK time. If you're in the UK, by the way, don't forget the clocks go back. Because that's what we all need. More 2020. So we get an extra hour of 2020. The 1 year I don't want the clocks to go back is this year. In fact, could we put the clocks forward about 3 months? Would be fine rather than going back an hour. But don't forget that tomorrow. I know you should be out of bed by lunchtime tomorrow, but just on the off chance you are somebody that likes to sleep in, make sure you're up a little bit earlier just in case you don't miss the race. So yeah, clocks go back tonight. How many DNFs, says Charles? That's a good prediction. We've seen some clumsy moments. We saw that clumsy moment that stupid moment between Verstappen and Stroll in FP2. I still think that's a 50-50, both just stupid and unnecessary in that one, by the way. Don't want to get back into it. We had a bitch on Twitter about it. But so we saw Ricciardo spin when he got offline. The track will be just as dirty tomorrow offline, I'd imagine. Maybe a little bit cleaner, but mostly quite dirty. That first couple of corners reminds me a little bit of Japan. That first part, sort of quick and then a little bit, yeah. Just watching now on board with Leclerc, sort of quick and then a little bit slower and then quick again. So maybe that could be a bit of chaos tomorrow. Maybe. So I went with 18 on Wednesday. Seeing the cars on the track, I'm going to go with 17. Not 17 DNFs, 17 finishes. People in chat going, whoa, 17 finishes, so 3 DNFs. Annette says carnage. Absolute carnage. That'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? 17 DNFs. Victory for Latifi, followed by Magnussen and Giovinazzi. That'd be brilliant. 17 finishers. Again, I'm just trying to bit through the comments. Some fascinating. Recall Magello could happen, says Astro. Good point. Very good point. Safety cars from Ben Roberts. 1. I'll go with 1 safety car. It's really, when I was doing the preview, it's very difficult. Normally I'd be like, oh, here's the safety car chance. Here's how many we've had. We've got no idea, have we, tomorrow? No idea. It could be crap. The whole race could be terrible. It could be epic. It really could be. We just don't know. I'm just happy with a good race. It's nice to see cars on a good track. Most people expecting about 5 DNFs, 7 DNFs, 3 safety cars. I mean, how many safety cars would it be for 17 retirements, do you reckon, Annette? 12? Something like that. Is it going to be dry tomorrow? Good question from Dara. That's what we'll do. We'll do weather quickly, and then I'm going to wrap it up. So I'll use my phone because I don't think my PC can handle more stuff open and doing other things. So let's see what the Met Office. Sort of pointless asking the Met Office because they're not really all that reliable. But I will ask the question of Portimao, Portugal. There you go. So weather tomorrow. So race is 3:10 local time. There's about a 30% chance of a shower. So it should be dry, about 19, 20 degrees, sunshine and cloud, but there is a 30% chance of a shower, but it's pretty much nailed on to rain from 5 p.m, so local time, so there you go. It's about right. It'll probably be nice and dry, clouds. Crofty will spend an hour and a half talking about how there's an 80% chance of rain or whatever, and it's almost going to rain, and is it raining, and what's happening, Ted Kravitz, is it raining out there, getting all excited, and then it chucks it down when the podium finishes. Think back to Germany a few years ago. So 30% chance of rain. Yeah, maybe. We're going to wrap it up there. It's been a bit of a waffly one, obviously. A lot of what I would have talked about after the session, we had to talk about at the start of the session because we had that 30-minute delay. If you did miss that, qualifying delayed by 30 minutes because of a loose drain cover. Had to go off and repair a few things or check things around the track. So, but all okay in the end. I didn't see anything flicking up. So yeah, there we go. We're going to wrap it up because honestly, I will say this now. People, I don't think I ever say this very often. People don't get it. If I don't stop myself, I will sit here talking crap all afternoon to you all. I have got no problem sitting here till 10 o'clock tonight and just talking, and I can't do that. I can't put you through that. I can't put myself through that. There's just no way. So we'll wrap it up there. Please do drop a like again before you disappear. Massively appreciated always, and do subscribe if you are new. I will be back tomorrow. It's about 4 p.m. UK time, so about an hour and a half, 2 hours after the race has finished. But other than that, I'm going to go off now and watch some football, I think. Chill out for a bit, watch some football, enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and hopefully I'll catch you all again for the race reaction tomorrow. It is tomorrow because the race is tomorrow. Very good, Sean. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.